I thought I hated touring. It's not that. I got really, oh boy, burnt, jaded, and aggro at that idea that I had in my head that I thought it couldn't be any different. Actually, though, I'm more excited to return to stage under a new lens and, within a new frame. It's a whole different kind of vibe now. It's like not being expected to do the thing that you've been doing for so long.
Real quick before getting into today's episode, just wanted to shout out a few quick things. First of all, we have a Patreon. For as low as $1.50 a month, you can get early access to these episodes as well as your name in the credits. And with the $5 tier, you can gain access to member-only channels in our Discord server. Secondly, we have merch. 2 designs that we absolutely love. You can find those over at indiemerchstore.com. And last but not least, we do these podcast recordings live on Twitch. So if you want to be a part of the conversation, see these as they happen. We do those every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST. Yeah, that's it. Links to everything I just mentioned will be in the description, along with links to our Discord server and our other socials. That's it. That's all I got to plug. Enjoy the episode. Adam, my man, welcome to the show, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm cramped. We got a reverse Oreo cookie sandwich here today, everybody.
Yes, we do.
I'm gonna be in between two gorgeous men. They're gonna be kissing me on the cheek a lot tonight, I guess.
It's a pretty sexy sandwich, if I may say so myself. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Starting very intimate. I'm loving that.
Look, we can't really see it here, but my man was setting up the candles in the back and everything just for us.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah, man. That's the standard. You got to have a good vibe,
I'm respecting that. It's great. We're off to a good start. So.
How are you doing, Adam, man?
I'm good. That's always the hardest question for me to answer. Mostly because, it's like, that usually falls like, what are you up to? This, that. And it's like, I am used to myself. So nothing is really that cool to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I live my own existence. So it's like, not much, And then they're like, what do you mean?
You're seeing not much. And then you're like in 50 different projects and different things, that's kind
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, just to kind of kick it off, you put out a one taker kind of playthrough of a song you did today, and my God,
thanks. That was for you guys.
Reminded me, the qualities of these pipes you've got there.
Thanks. That was for you guys. It was a little follow up to kind of get people like, oh, he's on the show today. So just for the Brutality podcast promo,
God damn, I'll take it. I mean,
sick.
I mean, it's always, I respect the type of performance like that that's actually a one take and is kind of a raw thing, not a mimed vocal cover that seems to be par for the course in 2026.
Which one is par for the course? What's the other one you said?
Well, people faking, there's like pre-recording their vocals and then just recording on top of it. It's like, yeah, like you did the vocals, but did you that's why I'm saying I respect the hell out of what you did. Cause that's like, that's the real deal. That's the thing, right?
Thanks. Yeah. You're not wrong. And that's the disappointing part when I was first, because the whole vocal video thing really only came about because I was like, I wanted to promote what Oceano was doing. I'm still super jacked up on the album we put out, right? And so like understanding that, where we're at, I was like, well, coming from sports, it's just like, well, you can either bitch about it, that gets you nowhere, or you can just do something about it. And I was like, I'm gonna do something. And then I was sitting there. I was just like, what could I do to promote my band? And somehow it hit me, just do vocals. And then I said, okay, how do you do vocals? I was like, well, I wrote the whole Shadow album live. Why don't I just do this that way and just record it? I was like, I'll do that. And then now you bring up this though, is what I didn't realize, for me, it was that made sense, right? Just hit record, and go. But what I saw in other scenarios was not that. And I was kind of like, oh, I see why this is working for me.
Yeah.
Well,
I was like,
look,
I'll take it.
If you weren't able to, if you did that, but you sounded like shit, I mean, it'd be a different story, right?
Yeah.
But it sounds fun, but it sounds more brutal than all these edited down videos. So I'm like, hey, I was kind of proving the point, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think I would say I would probably not be doing the vocal video stuff if I wasn't, like 15x or however many years confident in my vocals. Like I think the moment I remember was a moment I was recording for like my first band, like local band. I remember like I was like, this is all right. Those moments were building to, okay, comfortable enough to be online and put it out there, just one take. But it wasn't there always. Not even close.
No, but it's impressive because, like, first of all, like, it's the perfect way, I think, to show the amount of control you have. Because, like, there's no, I mean, like, it's very clear. You hear the whole song. You have, like, there's the I don't know, like, since it's a whole song, like, you see, like, the breath work, you see everything that you don't really have the context otherwise, right? Like, if you pre-record, you could do anything you want. If you pre-record it, you could go line by line for 3 minutes and just do the thing. So it's more of a performance. It's like having an online show, basically. You're getting to witness a performance. So I think for especially people who dig vocals, who are interested in vocals, it's the best. It's the absolute best kind of content.
He's still setting unrealistic expectations for us mere mortals, but at least it's not fake.
Then you think you can do that, and then you do it, and I cannot do that, but
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, exactly that. It's like it's a mini performance in the palm of your hand. That's how I was thinking of it. It's like little bite-sized bit of it, and then for me I get to do what is that, like a crumb of the work that is done on stage. Like it's sure.
Well, even like pre-recording the shit, right? Like would take more time, would be a more complicated thing ultimately, right?
Yeah, it does take us it takes like a moment. I timed it out like to do a video for me because I really don't enjoy, like, I'm anti-content creator. Like I don't really like batching. I like more spontaneity. So it's a matter of, I'll put it on the schedule. All right, do a song, and then it's like, all right, turn it on. It's like from like start to finish, get the thumbnail, all that stuff, everything good. It's like for a short, probably total, if I was no stops, like it's like 2 hours. Sometimes you got to make the thumbnail like contrast and all that, high brightness, higher, lower, that kind of thing. But otherwise, it's pretty quick, and I like it. Easy work.
I mean, may as well use it, right? It's kind of what you were saying before. Like, what could I do? Well, hey, let's do this thing I'm good at. It'll probably be easy.
But it is super fun. It is super fun because it's what it really is on the behind the scenes part, like that no one knows, is actually minus maybe like 1 or 2 songs. They're not up on my stuff now, but that I've posted before. But minus that, these are really just the same songs that I was practicing when I was practicing. I never practiced to be a vocalist. I never really wanted to be in a metal band. It wasn't like a goal, until I got into one. But these were the songs, the ones that I cover. These are the exact songs that I was practicing or that I've grown up with, that define me as a fan of heavy music. So everything that I'm doing is just that. It's no more, no less. It's just all songs that like influenced me that I already know. That's the other part. I already know most of these songs as well from like high school.
The Slipknots and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's all
that one got a lot of traction
stuff.
too. That recent Slipknot one you did.
Yeah, it's easier than Kill Switch, but it's not easy to do, to nail it like on a solid level, like the Corey melodic singing parts. That's the other thing that's been cool about this part of like my journey, is like both it's challenging me and also it's helping me like further appreciate my influences and the vocalists that I look up to. It's helped me appreciate them more. Like if there's a difference, right, between singing it in your living room or in the shower and you also can hold a note, right? That's one thing. But when you're trying to do it and present it, and like, you know, your vocal idol might possibly even see it, you know, different. And so doing, like, for instance, like Kill Switch, that's so far, Kill Switch is one of the hardest that's within my capability. I know I can do it, but it's tough, especially once you start to go into especially the singing parts. For Howard's singing, most especially, at least for me, super tough. And I think what it is because he's managing to do power on his vocals on the singing, but also he can fit the vibrato in at the same time. So it's like it's super loud, but also he's doing that finesse with it, you know, like it's like it sounds easier than it actually is. You know, that's the thing. That's what I've been learning too. It's just like there's, you know, these guys are the greats for a reason.
Yeah, and it's also intimidating. I would assume maybe now you're used to it, but like when you're usually screaming to, like, I don't know if for you maybe you felt a little more, I don't know, maybe not vulnerable, but like singing is very, like, it's exposed, right? Like there's a difference between singing perfectly on a song and, let's be honest, doing like a slam band or something that you're making noise and stuff like that. Like it's like you're exposed, right? People are noticing if it's perfect. So I'm kind of wondering, like, at first it probably was a bit intimidating, or were you just like going with it and it worked out?
I would love to, because in the current state that I'm in, it's not intimidating anymore, but it was, yes, absolutely intimidating to start. Because it started, you know, I started doing the video stuff strictly, you know, screams to start, and then wanting to start bringing the singing to most especially showcase that at least I'm capable, you know, to a certain degree when it comes to singing, and that's just going to be more of, you know, what I do. So it came a matter of, you know, taking that was the most, I guess, nerve-wracking part of putting yourself out there, was the vulnerability of singing, like you said, because it's easier to critique singing than I think it is for the screams. And I don't know if I disappeared for you guys, but I disappeared.
No, we're in the dark.
Oh yeah, sorry, Adam. I'm fixing something, but yeah, no, we're
okay.
We're
I'm like, oh
yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, yeah. It's
I love the reaction.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I just really wanted to bring this up, and I had to fix it to make it work. Real ones remember the singing. You know, the Trav and Adam.
That still exists.
It still exists on Oceano's YouTube channel.
Oh, because I can't get. I tried to get in there to get that video, but I can't. I don't know the password to that.
Well, I mean, you could rip it offline.
Yeah, I want to get in that account badly.
I mean, there's unless you've got hidden videos. There's only two Trav. No,
yeah, that was like my old. Yeah, it was an old YouTube of mine from like, you know, like seven or so. What can you look on that? When was that YouTube made?
Well, the 2009. And
dang.
Yeah, this is 16 years ago. This first.
That's when Depths came out.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy part, because for my memory, I thought I was doing that a little bit after, but it was almost right alongside the first you know, world released album I put out. But yeah,
I mean, this.
Yeah, I guess I've been doing that singing stuff for a while.
Yeah, and this starts off with like a vlog, like this whole thing.
Yeah, I was in the band van.
But I put this on today, and I still remembered the lyrics and the song. Like, dude, this has like 95K views on it. The people got to know about this. I mean, this made the rounds back then. I just bring this up because singing, right? Like, this has always kind of been a thing for you.
Yeah, but it's definitely way more vulnerable.
Also kind of shocking, because it's like there's this video of you that looks like you're about to murder someone, and then, you know, there's like you're singing. So it's like the contrast is also very, very, very interesting. I remember my perspective, right? Like, I know it's a video, obviously it's deathcore and it's supposed to, like it would be weird if you're smiling during a deathcore video. But the image, I was just like, oh, I wonder if like I was a kid, so I was just like, is he like? Do you think he's like kind of mean with people? Like, how kind of people is it? Like, and then over the years, you finally realize like it doesn't mean that. But I mean, I was a kid, but the image, you know what I mean? Like the clip, it was well done. I mean, the vibe was there. So the contrast with the singing, I think, is interesting. It shows like the whole spectrum.
I like I've always been a fan of contrast, you know, like I didn't finish, but one of the things I was studying was, you know, like graphic design. And so like I like contrast, you know, and when you can like basically, you know, when we have weight pulling on the other, you know, like so you have balance, but it's also almost, it feels like it's a little off balance at the same time, you know. Things like that, like duality and all those type of concepts. I just feel like that is me. You know, I'm a very dualistic person. I'm not just like one where I like, you know, I mean, we're talking about being brutal, but then there's Nintendo shit right behind me, you know, like it's all that, but that's just how I came out, you know, it's not so much I try to be that. That's just how it's always been with me. Because yeah, I like watching Sunday morning cartoons, but like, you know, at the same time when I was watching Sunday morning cartoons, trying to catch like Pokemon before I go to school, also like after school, I was wrecking people in football. You know what I mean? Like happily, like not letting people get back up, you know? So it's always just dualities with me. I don't know what that means.
I think it's cool actually, because sorry, Dom, not to cut you off, but like, I think, in my opinion, people can relate more in that sense. You know what I mean? Like it was the coolest thing for me to realize that at some point, like, oh my God, like a lot of people in this industry are considered, because I call myself a nerd, right? Like I have like consoles, retro stuff. I love all that stuff, like Magic the Gathering, all of that. But to realize that like, oh my God, actually, I think there was more people than I thought that actually love these things. And
the crossover.
There's a crossover. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's relatable, I think.
Yeah.
More than just like, I'm just off and I, you know, like there's flames everywhere. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Just, you know, I don't know if somebody's saying that, but yeah, I'm burning things. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I saw Bowser as metal. Yeah. Everything has its moments of a little bit of, it can be edgy, even though it can be something a little bit lighter at the same time.
Well, I always say I've enjoyed deathcore because of the contrast. That's always been, I think, my reasoning for enjoying deathcore in the first place. The fast into the slow, the riff versus the breakdown, the high screams versus the low screams. Like deathcore to me was always the thing that was so full of contrast, and that to me, like I'm super ADHD, so that shit feeds my brain, you know. And that's, I think, what's always made me gravitate towards more so deathcore than, let's say, you know, than death metal, for example, which is more often than not, you know, exceptions aside, kind of more linear, right?
Yeah, you made a good point. That in itself is what drew me to some of my favorite bands, was that the contrast, the two peak ones, the Black Dahlia Murder, you know, that contrast, like as they said, like Cookie, what is it, Cookie Monster and Elmo, like, you know, like that whole thing they used to say. It's like that. I like that, you know. Despise Icon, that's one of my other favorites. You Canadian boys, so like that's one of my other tops. Yeah, so like that. Those are definitely two of the purest, I think, best examples of contrasting, like vocals in metal, especially. Yeah, I would agree with that. I like that too.
Yeah, it's something that because there was a while, we were talking about that earlier, that it was all about breakdowns, and I understand. I mean, I love breakdowns and stuff, but like for a while, songs would be only breakdowns, and I would be wondering why it didn't hit as much. I was like, it's cool, but because the contrast was missing. If you only throw something, you get used to it. It's cool, but you lose there's no impact, because it's just this. It's like, you know what I mean? Right. It's like watching a horror movie. It's just a jump scares. You're going to be like, okay, I get it. You know, like, I'm okay now. So that's kind of
used to it.
I have the weirdest comparison, but that's the only thing I had in the flames and now this. I don't know what's happening, but
No, that makes
that's
sense. It makes sense. Yeah,
I've
you
always
can't.
seen.
Oh, it's it's not exactly the same, but in a similar sense, because with you get like a song full of breakdowns, it doesn't have that impact sometimes as much. Andrew, this I'll never forget it because it's just the perfect. Andrew Banas said this to me. I was chilling with him, and he said we're just talking about writing and music and stuff, and he was like, yeah, because if everything's heavy, then nothing's heavy, and I was like, yes, that is it. You need that pull away to make that impact hit so much harder, or something, change it up, a contrast to what's happening, and it might come back later, and that's when it's yes, that's what makes it hit.
Yeah, I mean, within a song, but within an album, within look, I love my blast beats, but don't give me 50 minutes of blast beats, right? Like, you can give me a fast one, give me a slower one. You can go kind of all over the place with it. And me personally, I'll always enjoy that more than just something. I love my stuff that's balls to the wall, but give me a break sometime,
Yeah, I would definitely at least listen to the first 5 minutes of an album called 50 minutes of blast beats.
Yeah, I'm gonna need royalties on that one if that ever comes
60
out.
I want 60 minutes, full album, 60 minutes of blast beats. That's all it is, just different blast beats.
I think it would work just for the concept.
Yeah,
the curiosity would be there.
Music could be different, but the blast beats are just the whole time. That's it.
Or drummer though, if ever the whole time just blast beats.
We might be able to set a world record at the same time.
Oh, there we go. We'll set it up with Guinness. Have their people come into the recording studio, make it happen.
Definitely.
I'm getting ideas.
Not to change subjects too abruptly, but I'd be remiss to kind of talk about it a bit early in the episode here. You just wrapped up your final shows with Oceano not too long ago. It's only been just about a month since the last show. How's it been sinking in? How was it? And how was it to kind of cap off that year of shows and to end it? There's the OG lineup, all that stuff going around it.
Yeah. For the folks listening to this, I'm smiling very peacefully. So aftermath wise, amazing. As far as everything went good. I'll graze, and if we want to dig deeper later or whatever, we can. So that tour is good. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do all the shows with the personnel I wanted, but who we did have, just they killed it. So it was really cool to see, like, whoa. And I told them this to their faces. I was like, you guys are just as much members of Oceano as everybody before you, because you guys stepped up to the fucking plate when no one else was willing to, because there were people that did step away and left me with a really fucky situation. So the guys that I consider, and that's all that matters, the last iteration of Oceano members, they were amazing, because I got to see for the final time what it was like to do Oceano, which was essentially getting quality musicians, no matter whatever ethnicity, whatever their views are politically. I don't care. We're here to do music, and they came in and they just killed it. And if it was not for those guys, there would have never been any last shows. So just overall, like, just the fact that it happened is, like, it's that in itself is amazing. So I'm very happy with how it turned out. I got to also, it was great because I think that was the first time, because Oceano got really lost in, like, when you start, doing support tours and bigger bands and stuff, you start to get lost in that sometimes. And I feel you start to over tour and over support instead of taking your band and trying it out for yourself with the headlining and so like I think we got way too lost in that. So what was also cool was for us to do a proper headliner, and given the context, I think it pushed people to be more vocal about, I think, and more expressive and more outgoing, to reach out to anybody, whether it be, you know, like my homie Eric was doing merch. If I was around and out and about, grab me, or at the meet and greet, you know, just find someone that's connected to Oceano and just express how they feel about the band, you know, what it means to them. So it was cool to be able to get that in a real life setting versus, you know, how the internet is. You have to filter through all that, and you know, it's the internet. It feels a little less, you know, than if you really hear it, or like, hey, I met this person at the merch table. They said they've been listening to you for this. You know, like, can you just sign this for them real quick? Sure. You know, like that was cool to see, because it's sometimes hard to feel that love when you're like 3 of 5 on a bigger tour, you know, or like, and it's that's not what I look for, but at the end, it was nice to know, okay, it's worth it, and there are people that saw what we're doing here. Cool, mission accomplished. So yeah, it was the closure, great closure, for sure, great closure. I think, yeah.
Probably cool for them to hear that as well. I can only imagine, like, you step up kind of nervous and that, and then you're saying like you're just as much, and like, but I don't know, I'm trying to put myself in their shoes. I would be like, okay, cool, well, you know, like it's because we're talking about some things being intimidating, you know, when you like let's be honest, there was pressure for these people stepping up as well. Like it's like, you know, it's for the last show, it's big band, very beloved, people have expectations, so just to hear a little thing like that, just like, hey, just as much, like, you know, you're part of this, must have been, you know, pretty cool. So I think it was a cool move from your part.
There was there was a lot of, I think, just things I tried to squeeze out as much as I could for that things that maybe I would have liked to done larger scale, but obviously limited time. So for certain things, like only for that tour, that was cool. We got to do like, there's what would you call it, like there's rare, like I always akin things like collectibles. We're all nerds here, right? So, you know, Pokemon and old games that you can't find anymore, collectible, you know, like one of one, or maybe not one of one, but maybe like, you know, limited print runs of comics, things of that nature. Oh, I love all that kind of stuff. I love the marketing and the branding that comes with that type of stuff too. So it was cool on that run. We were able to do some things that only the VIP people could get. And then after that, like no more, like literally I told them, like, I'm going to either just keep them or burn them after that. You know, I just wanted something, we just got to do a lot of things this year, or last year now, that were just more just for the fans, you know, like not about like, we need to sell this amount of this, or we need, it's just like,
no other optics. It's like, this is it. Yeah.
Yep. Just for the people. Yep. It was cool to do stuff like that. And like unique things that were branded with Oceano and stuff.
That's cool.
Very
you
cool.
get my only complaint is you guys misspelt on the flyer Montreal somewhere, and then you guys didn't show up either. And that's my only complaint.
Yeah.
I'm sure you got a lot of comments of people being like, you're not coming through my way, like,
sure.
you know, what the fuck. But you guys did cover a lot throughout the year, and I wanted to touch on too, the lineups are really cool on these tours.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll take 80% credit.
There we go. I don't know. I thought it was a cool round of bands that were a mixture of, to me, you know, some old classics, old touring buddies, and, you know, bands like I Declare War, but then also some of the new guns like Filth and Crucifixion and stuff like that. So I thought, outside looking in, I thought it was a cool way to, I don't know, it kind of represents the deathcore scene right now. Like that's kind of like a bit of everything, right?
Yeah. That's, and it really just came about. Trying to say this, I want to say this where it sounds nice, where it's like all this stuff happened before. I'll say it to all of, I talk about this on my stream all the time. all this happened before, guys. So we kind of can know what's going to happen. So, we had this moment, all right, let grandpa come and tell your story here. So we had this moment in deathcore, before deathcore was a thing, where basically no one knew what they were playing, so you had right, it was so when I would just join Oceano, all we were playing with was metalcore bands, and then you had a couple of what we would jokingly call what was it, LDCs, the local deathcore bands, at that time, they weren't most of them weren't great. You'd come across a few that were like, holy shit. And so but that's all it was. And then there was this other type of band that was kind of like the confused band. It's they were we've been metalcore for however, our whole existence, but we kind of like this death metal thing. Let's try and make that work. You had these, but there was never many bands at that point. Was that 2000, from 2007 all the way to whenever the term deathcore became coined, and not a taboo term. It was you had a lot of bands were just in limbo. They just didn't know which direction to go. And eventually they started to figure it out and refine their sound. I feel like that's where you would get bands I'm throwing names out, but a band I don't know, they're not time relevant, but this type of band, right? An Into the Moat or something, I was just talking about them earlier, where they're it's this and it's that. I don't know where to put it. And I see that right now with deathcore, where now deathcore, as a scene, it has an identity. It, generally people know what it is, but it's now it wants to break out of the cocoon, and now we have different, piecemeal other genres coming into it again. And so it's just in a different way, but the cycle always kind of, continue. I'm waiting for Djent to pop back up and be like, hey,
no,
you don't want that one? That was I like that one.
Look, Yan's more of a hater than I am, but it killed deathcore objectively, right? That's the fear.
Killed deathcore.
I'm loving my deathcore revival right now. If we could stay there for a minute, I'd be a happy camper,
Yeah, I just want more of the Djent. I think that's essentially what Oceano was going for, and not so much consciously. I was definitely allowing it to happen because that's just how Scott writes.
Yeah.
And so that was definitely the goal, was I personally wanted more groove, more rap influence and that type of stuff in deathcore. And so, Djent, and let's just call it, the style that Meshuggah helped create, that in itself. I always liked that vibe because it had that rhythmic, flow to it. And if you listen to Oceano, Contagion, there's parts where I'm rap flowing and stuff. That's me when I'm just if only we could have this throughout most of the album. It was going there slowly and slowly. We went really away from it on Incisions, but when Scott got in the band, that's when it was we're going Djent deathcore for sure. And so that's been definitely my vibe, is bringing at least a little bit of the groove and the Djent into it.
Yeah, but it's we talk about this all the time. There was also kind of just a specific, and I don't know, Scott, this is another whatever, but Chicago always had, the Chicago scene had the bouncy heavy deathcore bands.
Well done.
The Monsters, the Jeromes, those kind of, the Demolishers, all those bands kind of had that, and a band like Monsters we also kind of associated slightly with Djent as well for those similar kind of grooves, right? But obviously you guys took it somewhere else with the later records, but I love that stuff, me personally. But that's kind of the early Djent stuff, the early volumes, the early the heavy Djent stuff, which was around for about 0.5 seconds for real, right? It became periphery closed real quick, right? So there's when we talk about Djent, Meshuggah and periphery are two different things. I think most people, when they hear Djent, it's more so periphery, right?
Yeah, Yeah, my head and my heart goes more towards the heavier
Yeah.
side of it. Like like for reference, like personally, love the band as a whole. You know what I'm saying? As musicians, but my only album that I'll ever go to and listen to for Periphery is that first one.
Yeah.
It's that because it's heavy, it's crap. So like that's kind of where I'm at with Djent, is like that's my defining album.
I saw you on tour with them around that album cycle too.
Yeah.
So you got to see that live quite a bit.
Yeah, with Chris as vocalist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which was cool too. That was tight. It's fun seeing bands when they have different I take pride in those moments, you know, where you can see bands either when they have like a fill-in from another band and they're sick, you know, or like maybe that day someone has to fill in on vocals and you get to see like a dual vocalist show that would never happen. I love all that kind of stuff. It's always fun. It's like a hard thing though, because it's like you don't wish the band would get in that situation, you know, but it's cool when it happens and someone can step up and just be like, I'm gonna do it. And then it's like, this is a different new experience for you.
I'm gonna. I'm gonna
offer.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring something up on screen here.
You did that.
Speaking of which,
yeah, nice segue.
For us Canadians over here, you did something incredible back then.
Did you guys get to see that?
Dude, you were
like, were you around for that? Like, did you get to see that?
I was able to see it, but yeah.
People were tripping. Like
you got to see it live. Nice.
Yeah, it was around here. It was like, and everybody was surprised because you hit like smaller cities and stuff. Like nobody were expecting. It was with Chelsea, right? And because at first you hear like, oh, the vocalist won't be there, and at first you're like, but then but it's gonna be Adam. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was sick.
So
how was it doing those? Yeah, that was Sneaks. Yeah.
Yeah. That was fun.
Those shows. Yeah.
That was fun. I just got a call from Mike Milford, their manager. Mike Milford also was the vocalist of Scars of Tomorrow, if you know that band. So that was cool being connected with him. So he just hit me up and was like, told me the situation. And then like just like we talked about, I was the same way then. I love the crossovers, so I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. Yeah. And it was right around my birthday at the time too. At least I think we like ended on my birthday, so I was like, yeah, this is gonna be cool. So I mean, it was no brainer. It was cool at the time, Dan, because that's like the OG lineup, you know. So Dan and his parents were living, or at least I don't know what the hell they were doing. They just had a nice house in Illinois. I knew that. And I went over there and all the boys were there. We jammed. So it was super convenient, you know, like they were already in Illinois, and like, so we just jammed in Illinois, got it done, and toured around Canada and ate a lot of poutine and partied and drank a lot of Molson Tall Boys. Yeah.
As you do. Yeah.
Makes sense. It does make sense. No, but it was incredible because, you know, those kinds of situation, it's like very often people are, you know, they can be disappointed. But in this case, it was just like, oh my God, it was more of a curiosity how it's going to be with his vocals on it. Like, it was just like, I remember the conversation. People were just like, oh shit. So, you know, you turn like a situation that was obviously, you know, at first unfortunate to then being like this awesome thing that you can see once. Like everybody was aware that it was like you won't get to see that very often. So that was crazy. You know, it was seamless. So yeah, that was an incredible one.
Yeah, I like that's exactly what it's one of those you're only gonna get it once type of things. It was fun. It was really, really fun. There wasn't a bad memory about that show. I remember on the way back, headed out of Canada, that was my birthday. For the first time, I got to try. I think it was they got the double or triple Big Mac over there. I did like something like that. Okay. I did like a double Big Mac and some other crazy shit. That was my birthday. Was riding in a van, eating a Big Mac, looking out the window at the Canadian landscape. That was my birthday. At like I don't even know. It was like what 22 22, maybe something like that, 23, somewhere in there.
I just don't remember the year of that, because I'm guessing it wasn't too probably around like 2010 or something would be my guess. That would be kind of my, not that it matters that much. I'm just trying to picture when, you know, you in your career wise when it was, but I would assume around 2010. Like,
I think it was around then, like somewhere in the like depths and Contagion, like in between in there.
Yeah, it's 2010. Yeah,
it was 2010.
Yeah.
Wow.
Baby,
that's still way early.
Yeah, yeah.
That's still way early in.
Actually, speaking of, like, we talked about Djent and you know, Contagion and all that stuff. I think it's fair to say I always felt that way. You guys were ahead of your time almost every single time. Like you alluded a little bit about Slipknot earlier, and like, you go to one of your albums. I'm terrible with names, but like it's Red and Black, I think. Like the album. I'm terrible with, like, the art is like whatever. I'm gonna find it after. But you were already using like new metal elements and stuff like that when pretty much nobody was doing that. And on Contagion, the bouncy breakdowns with complicated patterns, I didn't hear much of that. Like the breakdown in the viral reanimation. Like I always felt like. That I think I said in my video, but it's like you were ahead of your time on a lot of those albums. And I was wondering if perhaps sometimes you felt that way afterwards, because like it's obvious that some of the stuff you guys did then would be a thing afterwards, you know? So I was wondering if sometimes you felt like that, like, oh shit, now it's, you know, we did that then and now it's a thing.
In certain, I mean, I guess in certain moments, I mean, like Depths, that was obvious. I think when you're in the moment, it's not like a thought per se of like, you know, this is forward thinking, and this, you know, this part of this song has never been tried, and this, you know, it's never thought like that. There's been surely moments where I'm sure it's mostly been me like, do that. I've never heard that in this genre. Like, we should do that, you know, like surely that, but it's like after it's done and created, right? And it's like, yeah, do not get rid of that. And so, no, I just think it just comes from, I think that's the part of the writing of any artist that matters most, is when you're not connected to actually the scene at all in how you write. You're more so writing as a fan. And kind of, guys, that's how I do it, is I write what I'd like to hear. And so especially if it's something I haven't really heard, that just drives me to want to try it, you know? And it's like a little selfishness and a little bit creativity, where it's like, oh yeah, I love having my name connected to first of any type, you know, whatever it is. Like, I love it. It's just, I mean, makes you remember me, doesn't it? You know, it's like, I just look at it like that. So it's fun to be like a first in something, but also it's just doing what I think sounds cool, or what we think sounds cool. Was a lot of that, really. But I think above all else, it comes from the fact that we're all still music fans, you know, like heavy music fans. So at that time, you know, we're actively involved, going to shows. We're still going to our friends' shows and being involved with like all that, like bands that aren't maybe not known as well as we are yet, but we're still just immersed in all that. So we're just absorbing, you know, the culture as a whole, and then letting it kind of pour out. And I think the cool thing about Oceano, especially leading to, what do you say, like the last 7, like, so like, I'd look at it like this, like the last 3 albums is like a different era, because it was pretty much a set, consistent type of writing, set, consistent core group of guys, right? And then everything before that is kind of, I go by album. So like at that point, like before those last 3, I think the coolest thing was everyone was encouraged to be themselves the whole time. It was no one ever was told, like there was never a moment where we ever were like, nah, you can't do that. We can't do that. That's not our sound. That was never mentioned ever. There was never a moment where it's like, no, we can't do that. Never. Like, I'm surprised there has. I wish I could say that just to, you know, feel like we were normal, maybe, you know, but that was never said. There was never anything that was like foolish. It was more like, let's see if we can change it up, like, or and if it's no good, toss it. But so that was cool too. It was like everyone was encouraged to be themselves. And so I think the sports thing connects so much to the band, most especially for me, because I looked at it as if like this is like a team, and also we're all mutually coaching each other. So I came from it like, what's everyone's strong points and what's their like identities. So that's what I think helped us a lot, was each member, I viewed them as their own individual person, but also they had individual strengths. Like for instance, Danny is a punk hardcore kid that plays death metal. There's no reason I'm not going to want him to keep doing those 2-step beats and, like, and doing like some of those the punk and hardcore beats. Like, keep doing that. That's what keeps us deathcore. That's what keeps the hardcore in there. You know what I mean? Andy at the time, he came from a band called From the Grave, From the Grave, because now there's To the Grave now, but his band was From the Grave at the time. And so like him, same thing. That was basically what they were, was a love letter to the Acacia Strain, tuned to like drop F or something like that, right? So like I knew there, it's like, okay, you're also in a hardcore band that's just basically down tuned. Yes, we have two guys that have a good understanding of hardcore music. Vocally, I have a good understanding of it. Great. Jeremy is this motherfucker wore a Cannibal Corpse shirt every other day. Death metal kid. Okay, cool. He's gonna make sure we have keep the DNA of Oceano there, which is at the time the death grindy, like death metal, widdly, like just trem riffs, all that. Keep that. Cool. Now, and then me, what do? Okay, I'm going to write deep intellectual stories and weave them into the death metal package. And that's, now you have Oceano. That's kind of how I viewed it, was like, you use what you have and you build off that. So I think that's what helped us always like sound like we were at least bringing maybe a few elements, in different moments from different places, or that were just a little bit before the, what is that, ahead of the curve. We're just playing to everybody's strengths, and we all had different strengths. We're all into different types of heavy music.
Makes a lot of sense, actually. And it would also explain why you guys, like, you go from an album to another and it's so different too. It's because it's based on, you know what I mean? Like, you take it, like me and Dom, we talk often about Ascendants. We were both convinced that it's very underrated and people should talk about it more. And you compare it to, I don't know, like Contagion, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many different things. And I think what you just explained, it makes a lot of sense. It's because, depending on the era, depending on where you were, it was
Ascendants. I don't know if I'd love to hear your perspective on this, Adam. Like, I feel like that album, with the particular, like you said, it was kind of the start of a new era, right? The kind of like a full member shift on that album, kind of ushered in like a new sound. I feel like that album kind of had lightning in a bottle. I feel like there was something special to that record. Maybe I just love Chasen's drums too much. Maybe that's just it. But I'd love to hear it, like, from your perspective, if you feel any type of way about that record, kind of going into it with like newer members in there, and obviously, a different style of songwriting. You mentioned going into a more Djent thing. Like, was there something brewing there, or no different than the others?
Yeah, no, I thought so. We did it. So that album was Chasen didn't drum on that, but he was with us at around that point.
Okay.
It's at least, I actually,
it sounds like Chasen's drum style so much. Whoever did it.
That's the crazy part, is that's actually all Scott.
Oh yeah.
Like, so Scott is, I don't know. I've seen this guy on the kit, and he can do some stuff. I think if he really like got back on it, he could probably just be a drummer again. But so Scott, for everything that Scott's about, he wrote the drums. Yeah. And we had Matt do like one or two on Living Chaos, but we still modified them. So, because we had some demos version, but that's, so since Scott's written the meat of all the drums, like on Revelation, Buster went back in, and combed through it and did his thing after Scott. But Scott has been the lead on pretty much writing everything minus vocals and lyrics for all of the last three. But yeah, so for Ascendants, yeah, it was like it was like a transition almost, because we had like at that point we had almost like guys that were in headed out. It was weird because even at that point, I think that like Scott was just like freshly in the band. We had a couple trial tours, maybe one or two, and but he was freshly in. This is his first album to write, and I can't really put it any other way, because that's just really how it is. And even my homies, like, I'll give him his props till the day I die. Scott is just a fucking beast. Like, that's what the lightning in the bottle was. I knew what I had. I knew it. I knew what I had, and that, and so I knew that.
Were you a fan of like Delta before? Like, where'd you meet Chris? Like, what was the?
I met Scott for the first time. Scott's, from what he's told me, Scott's been aware of the band, and like, so I think the first time I was in a room with Scott, he was in the Doomsday Catalyst, and Oceano played a show. Doomsday was doing something, we were doing something, and how you just cross paths. We were just we're both Illinois bands, so a promoter, I think it was Chris, by a thread, put us on a show together in Danville, Illinois, at a place I don't remember, but it was like a community hall, or that was connected to a school, or like a gymnasium type of thing, So that was my first time in I think in each other's presence, but like don't really remember him. We've always been around each other, mutual friends, but my first time actually formally seeing him play, like getting his kind of like his musical credit, his musical like calling card to me was it was another birthday. My birthday, I went to my old town, Evergreen Park. My homies' bands were playing a band called, they don't exist anymore, called Stab Twist Pull, and a band called Impale, which was my homies from high school. They had a band. So they were playing in like across the street from where, I used to hang out at my friend Frank's house in the basement, because he was going to do some demolition on his basement. So he's like, fuck it, let's just do it. I think Drowning played as well, but at least they were there. And so that's the show. And, and there at some point there's fireworks like in the basement, all this shit. And then I think Scott and Delta were set to play like right before last. And mind you, like there's only like 20 people hanging out. Like it's not like this is like a packed basement. Like it's not like that. And so they come down, all of them come down, they I don't think anybody knew them per se. They just were like, let's play. And then so they come down, they set up and play, and then I take it in. And I already knew, like, I can see the professionalism and just how they are, the gear, how they're setting up, this, that. So I'm already like, okay, let's see what this is about. And then they begin, and I just start picking out everything. Okay, all right, intro tracks. Okay, it's got backing tracks here. It's not letting any silence between the songs. That's beautiful. I hate that. Cool. I'm just paying attention to everything. Okay, I'm watching Scott play it, like looking at his wrist and how he's playing. Like, that's insane. Okay, those patterns are crazy. I'm like, Djenty, groovy. I like that. I want that. What I mean? So I'm just going through everything. Like presence. He looks great. Like, and go through all of it. I'm just like, and I just keep it in my head, right? And so I meet him. That was pretty much it. And then comes later down the line when we do need a guitarist. That's the guy, whoever that was. Let's get. And it was at the time it came as a two for one, because Scott and his brother Matt came as a two for one. So Scott on the guitar, Matt on bass. So shout out to both of those dudes. And also like that, outside of the Contagion era, touring with those two, best experiences of my life, touring with the two brothers that are fucking hilarious, that just love Chicago sports and don't give a fuck about what anybody has to say or think about them, that's my kind of guys, you know? That's how I met Scott, and I gave him an offer he couldn't refuse.
Makes sense. Well, the result is there. Let me tell you, it's a really cool one. By the way, your delivery when you said fireworks killed me. Like you said, there was fireworks. Left a pause, and then you're like in the basement, which changed entirely the vision that I had in my mind. You're like, at some point there was fireworks. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. In the basement. Oh shit, that's another situation.
Yeah.
So
in the basement,
another kind of party. But
the basement was like the size of this room. That's the worst part. So like that smoke and all that, you know, like I don't know. Yeah,
honestly sounds like a MySpace era show, to be honest.
Essentially.
You know, like a lot of backyard shows, or we even heard about houses shows, sometimes like just like a regular house in the living room. We heard some shows like that. So that's fireworks is a first for me. I don't know about you, Dom. For fireworks was the first time I heard that at a show. So that's cool.
Just a quick second to talk about the sponsor of today's episode, Indie Merch Store. If you missed out on the latest cattle decapitation headliner tour, now is the time to stock up on some sick gear. The band just put up a variety of tees, including their Death Atlas crystal tie-dye pullover, the instant classic Bring Back the Plague 2028 tee, and more. Check it all out over at indiemerchstore.com. Worm Shepherd are back with their brand new record, Dawn of the Iconoclast, coming February 20th via Unique Leader Records. Pre-orders are live over at indiemerchstore.com and include album-themed tees and wall flags alongside CDs and vinyl. As always, you can use code BRUTALITY at checkout to save 10% off of your entire order. Again, that is code BRUTALITY at checkout for 10% off. As always, a massive shout out to Indie Merch Store for supporting the show. And now, back to the episode. We got to touch on Deps a little bit, but we got to talk about kind of early adamonearth
yes, please.
Demos, like 2007, 2008 demos.
Please.
I'm very curious about these kind of shittier recordings of some might say even greater sounding, depending on which way you look at it. But some of those demos are really cool, and songs that ultimately made it on Deps afterwards. I'd be curious from your point of view, kind of maybe what some of those recording experiences were like, or because it was like you joining the band, you weren't the first vocalist either. I'm wondering, like, is there an expectation? Like, what's the mindset going into it? We gotta, Adam. We gotta.
That's the beautiful part. There was no expectation. I will grind this in for eternity, because I was disappointed actually as a lyricist. You know, there was actually because there was no vocals. There was no lyrics. There was no lyrics. Like there was I was trying to push this to the like when they were like, dude, because they were always like, dude, I know you were in the band, but like Candyman, man. I was like, yeah, that's cool and all, but that song sucked because it didn't have lyrics. You know what I mean? Like there was no lyrics to anything. So like the moment I came in the band, I set the tone for standardized lyrics for every song. That was so like we came in right away and started, flipping things on its head. But I don't think any of it was. Had I not been in any bands prior to that point, it may have been different, but I'd gone through at least the motions in other bands before that, to where it's like this is just the next natural progression to like, okay, well, you clearly like doing music and you want to do more of that. You can't play, your backyard every weekend. Time that you want to tour. So how are you going to do that? Okay, you need to get in a band that wants to do that. So it was just like a natural progression in that sense. Recording wise wasn't too rough either, and I think that's the band. The moment that I got into it, it became even cooler from my vantage point to be in a band, because almost right away we started bringing in people that I knew. And so the first things that I did were at the studio that I had already been used to going to,
Cool.
strictly because of other friends and stuff. That guy, Nick Nativo, shout out to Nick. He's recorded like monsters, like he's the guy. And it was through, like all of us starting to use him, but none of us would have known him if not for me just being like, I want to go, we should just go here. It was just like, I think Jeremy was like, we need someone to record with. Who we're going to record? I was like, oh, I know a guy, like we just have to go down here. And so, and that guy was the guy that made me even realize like, oh, you can do bands and like travel the country, like that was the first dude that I ever knew that ever toured in a band. They were touring off maps. You know what I mean? Like just maps. That's it. And like that was the first guy I knew. So like I was like, oh, let's just go to Nick Tivo. He was doing it before everybody else. He was touring. He was in the band. He was doing all that stuff for everybody. So like this is the guy. He's got his new studio. Let's just work with him. So my first demos with Oceano were with a guy I knew that was doing it at the scale that I wanted to before Oceano was even there yet. And so that was cool enough and good enough, I think, of an experience to not really feel uncomfortable. I just felt natural. It was like, that's where we should have been. We also helped him come up with the name of his studio at the time because he didn't have a name. And it was, I can't remember the dude's name was, I don't know if this is just forgive me if it's anything bad, but that was his nickname, Mook, Mook. That was his name. Okay. And then Nick, we were like, oh, like we never had a place to, to say what the name of the place was. We're like, it's the Nook. And then they just ran with that, so we like helped them even as Oceano, we helped them come up with the name for their studio while they were helping us record. It was, I call it the blue EP. So it's just a demo, but it's two songs. I think most of them were burned on a blue disc. There might be some that weren't, but I do remember at least one of the original ones was a blue disc with Empathy and Samael, and then Corpse was on drums. It's a little tiny young man that blast that gravity blast as fast as he could with his little arms, little man arms.
Were you guys like shopping around at that point, like? Because you guys, then end up on Earache, and then it kind of, you guys go to Sturgis and all this, right? It kind of like skyrockets at a certain point, right? So like, was it kind of off of the demos? I know you guys are playing locally too, and kind of had a reputation for the live shows back then too, even before kind of blowing up just locally. Like, how does trying to transition this into depths and going to signing and then going to Sturgis, and we had Sturgis on last week, and he was talking about how it seemed like there was a lot of pressure for that album to come out the way it did, and I don't know, I'm curious about that kind of.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. It was cool that he was the last guest you had was Joey.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good. Did you guys plan that way?
No, it just happened.
The funny part is it looks like it is, but no, it just happened.
That's a perfect way to set it up. To comment on the pressure thing, I mean, I didn't feel any pressure. I think that the label hopefully not stressing Joey out, because I was talking to my friend. He mentioned Joey had mentioned like just the desire. He mentioned like the desire to like maybe bring a little bit more orchestral elements into it. That on that front, a little bit of that did come out in a sense with Legions and stuff like that, but that was the folly, I think, of Earache Records at times, and why they almost completely like fucked our whole trajectory, because they were trying to at times tell a band that is on like, you know, the precipice of a genre that is being defined, and it's in that moment, they're trying to tell us what we should be doing. You know what I mean? But they're telling us what we should be doing based off of old school death metal conventions and stuff. And so they wanted raw, you know, they wanted like, you know what I mean, like raw, like we're like, it's like that middle ground between a black metal mix and a death metal mix, you know, like somewhere in there, but we don't want to go past that. You know, they didn't want that polished, what Joey Sturgis is known for. 100%.
Yeah, I was about to say that's not the right place to do.
Yeah, they wanted like they wanted it like precision, but they didn't necessarily want it to be sound over polished. But I think that's where that shows that you know, it was just the beginning of a new thing. So I think we found a good middle ground though. But that seemed to be one of the biggest things as far as for the label. They just really wanted like that raw sound, and to the degree where like they were pushing for. I love saying this on stage and people's jaws dropping. So just imagine this for a new reality, right? Imagine. Let's imagine that nothing has happened, right, for Oceano yet, and our debut single was Fractured Frames, Scattered Flesh. What do you think would have occurred? It's no District. District would have been on there, but it would not have been a single at all, because I don't even think that was in the conversation for like a next single. It was like all the super death metal ones were. So they were really pushing for that. That's another example of
you guys were the one who pushed for District being the song. To come out.
Yeah. We knew because we the exact conversation was we knew because, and that was Danny just came up with that randomly. That, I mean, he always did those fills that were like, you know, like he always did a little something before he did his fills. But like in that case, he went. That was just him dicking around jamming, because he never, ever could just not hit his drums when we needed a moment of silence. Even if you look at the videos, most of the videos of him, like when we're playing with him, notice lots of times he can't help but like, and we always like yell like, come on, like we want like, you know, like keep it pro, like he couldn't help himself. So that came from just him fucking around on his kit. You know, and we're like,
chill, dude.
You know, and that, so we knew like, oh, that's super unique, you know, like super unique. That needs to be, and it's just like a heavy song. It was sick. We saw how people were reacting to it. That was the other cool thing too. We got to play a lot of songs. Pretty much everything on Depths minus a few. We played all that. We were demoing that material. I think that's the difference between you know, that's why I think why Depths is a winner for sure, is because that one we got to demo all that material live, some of that stuff for years, even before I was in the band. You know, like some of those songs were like Slaughter Like Swine was a song before I was in it, and so I know that I saw them play that one. Empathy, I think there was an old version Empathy, but the new version that was like heavier. So like lots of those songs have been played for so long that, you know, like I don't feel there could have been any pressure besides just the label being annoying and like, you know, like in Joey's ear, probably email more than ours, but in his email, like checking in on, I could see them doing that. Like that time, Earache Records, like checking in like 3 days after we just got in. How's everything going? And I if I was Joey, I'd be like, dude, just leave me the fuck alone. You know what I mean? Like Joey was grinding, man. So I could only imagine. We did get Joey, funny story about Joey. I don't know if he's mentioned this one, but we did get Joey to hang out. At that point, he didn't hang out for shit. He did actually
Yeah, he was
hang out.
editing till 5 a.m. That's what he was doing.
Yeah, but like, you know, like break away from from our project and just like chill for a little. We got to get him to chill. We saw we were us were like super chill. Like we were always trying to get him to hang out and stuff. He's like, I gotta mix, I gotta do this.
The mixing can wait, Joey. Let's chill. Let's hang out.
Yeah.
Well, because he was mentioning stuff like, I know how the drum, it was crazy for the drums. He like or even the guitars recorded everything twice. Like everything was kind of like super overdone, quote unquote. But when it came to vocals, it was like, all right, we got like 2 days. Give me a couple takes of each, and good. He said, good thing Adam's a beast.
Well, I appreciate
is what
that.
He mentioned.
Yeah, I don't. Hey, whatever's got to get done's got to get done. It gave me a lot of time though to write too, you know, because I got to hear. I wanted to really. I was hoping to, you know, it could be one of those like, okay, I have everything done, and I'm just gonna be here for the process. Which that's what it was. But there were times where I had to, in the beginning parts of being there, like I had to just shade off, be in the. I mean, I was really on the other side of a door because it was literally just a shack. Like that's like what Joey's space at that time was smaller than this room, you know, like in total. Yeah. So like I was just on the other side of a door inside of a shack that basically was the size of an outhouse kind of thing. Like, you know, but I have to like be in the other side of the door for multiple smoking. Lots of them smoked. So no shade. I didn't give a shit, but like, so I'd stay away from that and then write lyrics and just listen in through the door. Cause sometimes like, all right, let's put a solo, and that can drastically, you know, change the flow of the song. It's like, okay, no vocals here, you know, stuff like that, or less vocal, you know, like those things would change things. So I started to be less like locked in as when I came, I'm like, it's gotta be this way. It's like, I'm going to have to change some things, wait until they're done. And then just hope that when they say they're done, and they don't go back to it. So that's how we kind of did a lot of it, was just like one song at a time. And that's in the crazy part too is I don't even like, I started blanking out at some point, probably from just starvation, but like that was 14 damn songs. Ugh. Maybe was it like, yeah, because we had the 15? Bonus songs. 15. Yeah. Like there was a lot of songs, 15. Like more than like what you would expect, I feel, for like something like that style. So I thinking about that too. It took a long time.
50 minutes of deathcore, my man. That's a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
That's insane. Not bad. Like if not for those, like if that was like, you know, every single song was like breakdown, but like granted that you have the instrumentals in there, you know, like I think that's nice that it if it is going to be that long, like having depths in there. What is it, Abysm, and then whatever. Isn't there one more? It's like the intro.
Some of the songs are more kind of mid tempo as well, right? Like it's not balls to the wall from start to finish.
Yeah, I think that makes it doable. But I definitely was like, never again will we do an album that long.
By the way, I gotta say, Samuel Destroyer to me was always up there with District. Like I saw some comments in her chat and stuff like that. Like Samuel, like the way it starts and everything, it's pretty crazy. And I think I could be wrong, but I think there was some traction behind that one as well back then. I don't, correct me if I'm wrong.
Samuel?
But yeah, I think people really liked it as well. Could be just a me thing very much, but like I'm pretty sure it back in, you know, the YouTube videos with the top breakdowns and stuff like that. It was
okay. I gotcha. It seems like people like that when we did it for the final show. We didn't. That was the beauty of it. We went 100% back to the old way. So I was just sick of it, dude. The gear, I was like, dude, once they all agreed, like all the Contagion guys agreed, I was like, how are we doing? We're gonna do tracks. Nick was talking about it. I was like, no, fuck that. Let's just go back to the old way, man. Cabs, like, you know what I mean? Like now that not everyone, but now that a lot of bands basically do, you know, like the digital way, like cabs sound cool again. You know what I mean? Like it's like now that the standard is set, the old way sounds more pure now. And so I was like, let's just go back to that. I don't want to do no in-ears, nothing. Let's just do it exactly how I do it. And so it's cool. I had so many people asking me, like a lot of dudes from East Coast, because they're just, I don't know why they're so violent over there, but they really wanted us to slow down the break. We used to slow down Samayo, and we just started not playing Samayo at all. So like one of them was like, we're gonna play Samayo again. And then the second was when we did play sample, like, you guys got to like a new, like all time in Brooklyn, I have like the same few people be like, you guys got to slow that breakdown though. Slow that shit down like you used to back in the day. And I was like, all right. When we play again, we'll do it, but I don't know when. So for this, it was cool. We got to do that. I was like, oh yeah, guys, by the way, we have to slow down the breakdown. And like, yeah, of course we are. So it's cool to do that, slow that breakdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, it became such an iconic thing, but that's the beauty of that era of the band. It was like, that was all just improv. It would just be I would just notice like Nick would do like a simple look at Danny, and then they would just do it. They would just know, like they were just all really good at improv, like just
connected.
Yeah, they were just good at it.
You guys would, am I crazy? You guys would do that with the end of District of Misery for a minute too, right? Early on, would slow it down.
Yeah, we've done it before.
Like slow it down during the blast beat.
Yeah. It'd be yeah.
I don't know. I always thought that shit was cool as fuck, but that's like less doable with in-ears for sure, right? Like we would kind of lose all that. I'm assuming you guys weren't doing that in the later years.
That was a request too. Is slow that one slowed down too. Yeah. Just anything slowed down. It's already slow.
I mean, it just hits.
Some of the parts are they're breakdowns. They're breakdowns.
Slower. Even
double
slower.
breakdown.
A third one.
Yeah, pitch a downshift, you know.
Yeah.
When you get to the breakdown.
Down tune your guitar as you're getting slower.
That would be cool, yeah.
I think it would. I do have a very obvious question that I apologize in advance because like I'm sure people ask you that like 50 billion times. But we were talking about District of Misery. I'm just curious within the band because in the scene, let me tell you, it was the new heavy. Like we were talking about it before it was like for everybody, it was just like, oh, it can get that heavy. It was the new definition of heavy when that video came out, the album and everything. I'm just curious, like, I know you choose District of Misery. It was like a clear decision for you guys, but how was it within the band to see that it's literally like, I'm going to say like blowing up, like the video, everybody was sharing it. Like it was like a big thing. Cause it's one thing to feel it like as a fan, as a kid or something, but it's another thing sometimes to be in the band and notice these things and see the reactions with, I don't know, with MySpace and stuff like that. I'm just curious to know within the band, like how it was.
Honest, from my perspective,
Yeah.
I have no clue. Cause the thing was like with Oceano, it's always been that way. We have the time of our lives when we're on tour, but we didn't really hang out much when we're off tour because we'd be together so long, loving and hating each other, you know? So I never really like, I know like what the friend groups I feel like, but I tried to like keep myself out of like a echo chamber in itself, you know, where I don't know. I really, it's crazy because looking back, like I don't know. And to give an example, Nick, I was living with Nick in transition before I moved out of Chicago, and we were talking about the band, and he was like, "Oh yeah, like when our album, you know, like did this and did that." I was like, "Oh, it did that?" He's like, "Yeah, dude, you didn't know?" I was like, "I thought it did, but I didn't like didn't realize it did that well." Like so, like at that time, I think I really don't know where my head was at. I think it just wasn't concerned with like it was just like doing music is just the same as like how I would. You know, like when I would be doing school and then I'd have to do wrestling, you know, like, or sports. Like I just looked at it like that. It's just something that I do amongst everything else I do. I never paid attention to like, you know, like, oh, what award or what accolade do I get from it? It was more like I get just the feeling of enjoyment. And other than that, I just did whatever else I was doing then. So like, I never paid attention to any of it. I didn't start really paying attention to it, to lots of that stuff until probably like Incisions, only because like we really wanted that album to do well, and like we knew what it meant. You know what I mean? So you want that growth, but that was just the industry. You know, like the industry folks starting to make us focus on it more, or make us feel like we should. But I never really paid attention to much, so I don't know actually.
No, but
I didn't know.
It's
Yeah.
fair enough. That's why I love to ask, because it's always different within the band. I was just wondering if maybe perhaps there was a moment with the label being like, listen, guys, this is clearly working. We're going to do this. I was just wondering if there was like a moment like
opportunities maybe more so, right? Like,
tours.
Yeah, that was the
still been
way.
at the very least just been like, hey, we weren't really touring and now we've got these opportunities all of a sudden, right? There's like a disconnect, right? For sure.
Yeah, I think that was definitely like, you know, that would be like the indicator of like how things are performing. But I think I'll give Jeremy the credit for this one. I think at that point Jeremy had already done a great sell, you know, at that point, like Jeremy had already done a great sell on why I would want to join the band. You know what I mean? Like I joined it. We all were joining it, you know, at that, the guys that became Oceano, especially for Depths, we all were joining it as if this is like a startup business that already has done, you know, like exceeded their, you know, their expectations. So that's, you know, it already was a hype local band, you know, so this is like me being in a unknown local band, getting an opportunity that you know, I know it's only where it's going to go from here. It's limitless. You know what I mean? So I think we all were in it at that point, knowing like, if we get this right, we're going to be touring with all our favorite bands. Like we've already been doing, you know, up to a certain point, we're already doing weekenders with our favorite bands. We're already like, so we already saw the growth so quickly of where it was, you know, like when we were touring, you know, just booking our own shows, that was already the indicator to us, you know, like, oh yeah, this is already going, like, because we're seeing how people are reacting, you know, to these shows and stuff, like, oh yeah, this is going. And that's all it was just that, like, yeah, this, why wouldn't it, you know, all our friends, you know, all the other bands that we like, all of them are able to do this at different levels, so like we're just gonna go run it as far as we can go.
Makes sense. From my understanding, it's like you focus on your craft, you do, and then you do your things, and answers the question again. Like it's always different from, you know, being someone on, I don't know, like on the farms on MySpace, and being with a band that like you're preparing for the tour, you have other things to think about, and it's often what happens on here. Like I love asking these questions because you don't know if you're not in the band. In my mind, when I was 15, people were millionaires in deathcore bands, so like, you know what I mean. So, and they weren't. I've learned that, but it's cool to have your perspective.
Adam wasn't ready to disprove you yet. Just so we're clear here.
Maybe he was the exception. Maybe, you know, like could be the exception.
There's still time.
Everybody. Yeah, I mean, there we go. No, but that was a moment. I'm asking that because it truly was a moment. From our perspective, we talk about it all the time, and even with Joey, it was, Depths was a moment. District of Misery, it was a moment. It was the time when people were showing their friend that video, and it was like, listen to that, just listen to that, and it was just like, oh shit, that's the new heavy. Like it's now possible type thing, and then you try and you don't, but. It was crazy. So yeah, it's a classic deathcore moment per se. So
yeah, I think it was I really don't. I wish I could tell you where the hell my head was at. I really don't know where it was at, because
it's a while ago too.
Processing it in the moment, you know.
I'm curious, maybe more so than like what your relationship with Depths is, you know, in 2026, right? Because
nice.
You know, we were talking off stream and about you. You've talked about this a bunch. How you're a look forward kind of guy, right? And there's we were talking earlier about being multifaceted, and you know, obviously never wanted to be pinned as like the dude that did District of Misery and then nothing, right? Like because that wasn't the case to begin with. Let's be real. Like records after Depths did better than Depths did, right? So it's like a weird, it's like a weird thing
perception.
almost. That, so yeah, I'd be curious, especially because, well, it surprised me that you guys did like the 15 years of Depths. And then it was really cool though to see you I saw you doing some streams where you were like pulling up like old fucking merch and shit from back in the day and doing like track by tracks and like really diving back into that world and stuff. So yeah, I'm just curious like what the relationship is with what we consider like a classic album, but it's your album from fucking 15 years ago now, or 20 almost, right? So yeah.
I think it's
you keep doing this face, Adam.
What's the face? This? Yeah, I'm trying to dig
back. How do I answer this?
No, I don't, because it's like, I really did at that point, you know, especially like social media wasn't the same either, right? So we weren't concerned with also we gotta also follow up with the fire reel, you know what I mean? Like there was there's none of that, you know. So it's just like
almost made me vomit, Adam. Just so we're clear here.
That's kind of how it is. Like what's you know, like it was just, you know, music video tour, you know, and that's so
MySpace player and
and just put it up on MySpace, but like how many people listen to it doesn't change anything, you know, from in MySpace. No one, it doesn't matter. So like I don't even remember how many, you know, like the listens on there probably were crazy, even like I can't imagine. But yeah, like it was just with Depths. I was really stoked. I think I still have it even. I was really stoked to get that that bounce. Like that's what I was waiting for the most, because that's what helps make it extra real. You know, like I had my demos of the song, and that made it more real. Like I can envision it. I start to see it, you know, and feel like, oh yeah, like we got an album here, you know, like how are these people going to react to it live? Oh man, they're going to mosh for that part, you know? So like that helps me envision it in real life more. So like I was super excited to finally get that bounce with the beeps of Depths on the disc, and I'd never let anybody else get their hands on that besides me. And I think I still have it, or I did raffle it off, but just that was like cool stuff, because that's my like first, you know, pro release, you know, and recordings was that like ever. So that was really cool. I think I looked at it more like it was like a mountain to climb than anything, because also we were starving, especially me and Jason, because we were eating ramen. Jason chose to eat ramen. He liked to do the pizzazz way. He would crunch them up, and then put the what is it, like the little fucking seasoning in the bag. Yep. And then
shake it up and
slide, do a little.
You eat the little rest of the powder at the bottom at the end, just to make sure you're not leaving anything.
Yeah, he would eat it dry, whereas I would like to always do like, you know, just normal like a soup. But yes, we were starving. So there's that. That part, try not to really think about. That part was pretty rough, but I think all of it combined, like Depths, just makes me think of like what it takes to get that type of like result. You know, like if, you know, like I didn't think I'd be talking to you guys and you guys would like it that much, you know what I mean? Like I don't expect anybody to think anything of my art. I think it's cool. So like to then now that's cool. That's probably the part that I only care about, is that I just went out to do my best. And so that way, whether you shit on me, hey, it's my best. I can't do any better. At least, you know what I mean? But if you love it, I did my best, you know, like, so that's the coolest part, I think, is that literally being present, which sometimes is tough for me, being present and knowing back then I had no care or awareness to care that there would ever be a moment where anyone, you know, years later would be like, this is on the mantle of like early deathcore, you know, like albums that were the start of the beginning, you know, like, because again, like I said earlier, I like first. So I'd say above all appreciative. I'm honored that people would see it in that light for sure.
Yeah, and not only that, but Dom alluded to that a little earlier, but now there's this whole revival with like younger, like, I mean, like 17 years old, 16 years old and stuff like that. And that record, let me tell you, is still influential. Like they're using it as a reference. I would say you as a vocalist and stuff like that. So who would have thought, you know, back in 2008, 2009 and 2025, deathcore would be, you know, like the cycle would come back. It's pretty crazy if you think about it, like seeing 17 years old loving that sound. So it's a testament to
that's it, nuts. Yeah. Another big shout out to Joey, because you know I will pat the guys of Oceano on their back, you know, for that, because you know, being big metalcore fans, the only way to be right, I figured, to be a band like Oceano and then to like want to tap into Joey at that point in, you know, the scene, is you had to be paying attention to what the other like metalcore was doing. Like, you know, all the bands that Joey's worked with at that time, one big one being Miss May I, you know, so you need to be aware of like bands like that and Devil Wears Prada. And we happened to be, because we were touring, we were playing with Ohio bands. We went to Ohio, you know, like often. And so we were always aware of that through the other bands that we just liked out of Ohio. And so Joey like is a big part of it, because I don't think we be talking about Depths the same if it was recorded with like, you know, like some homie in their basement that just was learning how to do it. You know, it'd be a different story. It would be on, I meant to bring this up. You guys remember, I don't know if you guys remember this. It may have made it still on this website called Deathcore Sexy. I don't know if you remember that, but it may have made it on there. Yeah,
of course.
It may have made it there, but it wouldn't.
First to download it for free of the little MediaFire link for sure.
Yeah, it would have made it there, but I think it would have been different. Which, it realistically, I think if it were the case, it would have come out sounding like the EP that preceded Depths, because that one still sounds good, but it definitely sounds like we did that ourselves with a friend in a studio with capable gear, but not with Joey Sturgis, you know.
Yeah, it was kind of like the vibe of those types of recordings in, you know, in that MySpace kind of era. Like that's what that kind of sound was. It was kind of just a reflection of the available gear at the time, and just doing shit yourself, you know. Yeah,
I wanna it'll be fun if you can break it on your guys' show. I think like after this, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Like I want to just like devolve it, and like, so like, you know, fuck this 50 set, get this out of here, you know, like I just got my mics back out of the gear, you know, just plug in the fucking stage mic into the freaking interface, just rip it. I'm gonna hole away for like a week and just work on what do you call it? It might, like, I don't know exactly if it's gonna be 3, but right now 3. I'm just gonna work on like a 3-song deathcore EP and just do it like old school, just like plug in, just lock myself in the room, get it done in like a week, and then just put it out. You know, like I'm tired of that. You know, like back in the day, you know, you just fucking go in a room with your guys, you record a song or two, throw it up on MySpace, dude. That's it.
You have to move on
with your day.
We're too excited. You know the meme when it's somebody saying "Don't give me hope"? Like it has to happen. I'm so just hearing you saying that, recording deathcore.
You're gonna have to block our page from me messaging you too much about it if you don't do it.
My page.
I am doing it like next week. I already told the people that are on my team that like I'm gonna the goal is like, because I still have to stream, because I don't want to like, I got to be consistent with streaming. So I'm probably just gonna like pop up on stream for a little bit and then just like update you guys on like where I'm at with it. But just grinds. I'm like, even if it sucks, I'm gonna do the artwork too. like everything. I want to do like as much of it like where it's like just all
Couldn't
me.
be more excited.
Yeah, just it's like I've never done that. It's like stuff, but like that brings us back to the whole like that's what it was like back in the day. Like like just throw it up on SoundCloud and like just like what is it like they always say like just drop the content, just drop it. Like don't just
press
screw
publish,
the numbers.
man.
Yes, yes.
That's what I like about your streams, by the way. Not to change the topic too much, but that's something that I like. You're gonna openly just like you're gonna have an idea on the spot, and you're just gonna talk about it. Oh, maybe I should. I think it's a cool thing that you do. I think just open conversations like that and just top that you have. Like at the very least, the streams that I was there, you did that a few times. With music or it was pretty cool. I think because you don't get to see people don't get to see that part, like that creative side or just like that idea and next thing you know you hear it in a song. It's pretty cool. You were there as it was happening. It's like being in a jam room with people almost, like you were there and then you hear the part. So I think it's a cool thing that cool insight that you're doing.
Oh, thanks, man. I'll shed it's a connect to the Oceano story. So that I believe there's different names that people call it, right? Like flow state, or like let's just call it that, like flow state, where you're just like just always lost in your creativity. It's just nonstop. It didn't used to always be that way. I feel like what I've been kind of extrapolating is like when you're a kid and you're younger, right? You usually are more imaginative. You're more at least daring to be creative in these weird, goofy, whatever ways, and eventually that starts to like diminish. But as creatives, that might stay, but it's like the world just keeps kicking you in the nuts, like a little bit harder and harder throughout your life, where it's like, you can't have fun, or you can't be imaginative. That's for kids. Kick you in the nuts, or kick you in the whatever, and eventually you start to like, you have less and less of that spark in you. And so I started to realize that was happening to me. And I started to think, what if that's writer's block? And so I started to kind of look at the moments when I was writing Oceano stuff, because that was really all I focused on writing for a long time, was just Oceano stuff. And I was always hitting these walls, with like trying to get through to write stuff. And when I got it was like right before I was started to write the stuff for Living Chaos. I was already doing a lot of music with other people and collaborating and stuff, and then I started to realize like, oh, I never had writer's block. I never had any of like no creative block at all. I just needed to create in other ways so that it just it got all that out. So I had space to be influenced by that, and then cycle that into new ideas. And I started to realize that like a lot of that, like you said, with a lot of that, like that ability just like constantly just throw out ideas is from just like not feeling limited in how you create. And so I've tried to just make it where I can always feel like I can create in any way I want at any time I want. And now I don't feel like I have to perform, or do anything at all unless I want to. And that's where it's just like, oh, that'd be cool. I want to do that. All right, put it in a note. I have all these fucking notes everywhere. Like the team that I have, we have this thing. It's like a what is it? A parking lot for ideas, because we get in our calls and it's like, oh, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this. It's like, we're not getting anything done at all. But it's cool to have it, because that's exactly the goal is just constant, nonstop flow state. And I think it's gonna help just me keep pushing myself to come up with like new things.
What's kind of the mindset behind like the you're doing a lot more, I guess it's a lot of collabs, but it's all kind of done through the adamonearth, through like the solo artist route. Like, I'm curious if there's like a grander plan, or if it's just, let's just go with the flow day by day. Like, do you have a vision for what that could look like? Like, do you want to tour again? Do you want to play shows? Like, is there, what's out there for the future?
I'd say this to start. I thought I hated touring. It's not that. I just hated the way that us touring musicians have been made to believe it needs to be, because the way that we do tour more so benefits the labels, but I'm sure it doesn't benefit most of our like desires, of still being close to our family, kids, and friends and our normal life. And so like, I got really, oh boy, burnt, jaded, and fucking aggro at that idea that I had in my head that I thought it couldn't be any different. You know what I mean? And so actually though, I don't despise it all. Like it's actually, it's way more manageable and enjoyable when it's in small doses. And so like, I'm more excited to return to stage with under a new lens and, within a new frame. It's a whole different kind of vibe now. It's like not being expected to do the thing that you've been doing for so long, but still doing something similar that's still sick, and so generally adamonearth is me. And so I would akin to like any artist that starts with a band and then eventually they move on and do their own thing. It's just like that. And it comes from actually the desire to figure out a solution to a problem. And that problem is, as we all know, throughout almost every iteration and album of Oceano until like the last three, we dealt with member changes. And, I found it kind of interesting how, that was such a hot kind of conversation thing for us at the time. But now, fill-ins are a normalized thing, in some bands where it's like you only have one or two people, so to combat that, because I understand, like us as music fans, we want to connect with the artists, like an example, Limp Bizkit wouldn't be Limp Bizkit if we didn't know each and every one of those members, who they are, general idea of what their swag is. That's what makes them a bigger iconic band, is because of that. So to kind of alleviate that, because I understand that, most musicians are not going to want to stick with you like your entire life, but I will, you know what I mean? Like I'm going to be making music until I die, but I don't know if they're going to want to be with me for all of that. So to alleviate that, especially, it was like, well, why don't I just do my own project, but do the exact same thing, which was what Oceano turned into, which I'm the most proud of, is Oceano became a vessel of opportunity for other people. I mean, that's, like when Jeremy presented me that offer, I was just some kid from Illinois that was just in some random band, you know what I mean? But Jeremy at that point had all the leverage to give me the opportunity or act like a fucking cool guy and just be like, oh, I could make you work for it. Like he didn't do that. We connected on Killswitch Engage, and he was like, hey man, come try out. And the rest, I earned it. So to the same with everybody who's done Oceano, that always was an opportunity for them to do more. And a lot of those guys that wanted to do more ended up doing bigger things. So to the same degree with what I'm doing with me as a solo artist, it's for me to continue having an outlet for my music and creativity, but being more personal about it, and also still bringing people involved. So I would say, to give a better idea, I mean, I don't know what we're gonna do on the bass side because it's not necessary, but drummer, guitarist for adamonearth, like my band, like we already have that. So like we're gonna do shows. I have two. Let's call it, well, they're not writing yet, but let's call it three writing teams. So basically I'm pretty stoked on, like, I'm doing some shit that I don't think many people that would be in my position would ever think to do. Is like, I'm building systems and teams to work with me to do exactly what I should be doing as an artist, releasing a lot of fucking music So like we need, like it can't be, it can't be one album's worth of material a year. That's not enough in this current state of the music industry. Like you can be an independent artist, but what you can't do is release music at the same rate as if you were a signed artist. Like, like when it's one album worth of material a year, or like an EP and that's it. Like no, or like, one single a month. That's not even enough, So
especially
really
if you're
just
not touring it 9 months out of the year, right?
Yeah, you got to make up for that. You got to make up for that as well. So yeah, just I'm coming at things in that in a way that's more, again, forward thinking for where the music industry is actually at right now. I think just a lot of people are behind or late, but it's not too late, to get moving. So I plan to do it all, yeah, and like just I think one of the coolest things is, it's harder for music fans, especially in metal, I feel, to conceptualize, like, oh, let's take an icon, in the space, oh man, they're going to do like 3 other projects. Don't you think it's a lot? Versus if it's just an individual, it's like, no, they're just doing all these things. And I just think that a lot of the crazy, cool, wild things that musicians are expected to do sometimes is lost in how structured and corporate it becomes sometimes. 100%. So like I think it'd be cool, like just throw some just one tidbit idea and then I'm done. But I am excited about the future, as you can tell. Like maybe I just want to do one show and I just create a band for just one day and we play one show. That's it. It doesn't exist anymore. Like moments, like the moments, like I want to feel I want to help create and feel what it was like. Like I remember when I saw like Chimera and God Forbid. That's one of my first concerts. And like those bands never toured together again. And they barely ever, like now what, they don't tour at all really. It's like God Forbid just recently came back, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Those moments, I want to help create those moments for the next generation. Those special moments where it doesn't feel like it was just another tour or just another album. It's like,
they're coming back 2 other times that same year with the same lineup.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Just one small request. If the three deathcore songs you're recording, let's say you're doing only one show, and it could happen in Montreal. I'm just
small ask, man.
We're talking, but if for this specific context, you're thinking one show, that
would be hilarious because it would be like only like 3 songs, but I think that make it even sicker.
We'd be there.
Some of the revival bands have been doing it. Like this band Girl of Glass famously had a 8-minute set for the longest time. Super hyped band, but longer to set up than the length of their set. I mean, look, everything's doable, man.
Yeah, Crucifixion did that on our tour. They were, because they had like
they were playing super short too. Yeah.
Yeah, they had like a couple songs, and they just made the. What is that, like the time before they started was like a little longer. I was like, whatever, doesn't cut into my set time. Cool. I mean, go ahead.
I feel that. Let's talk a bit about the new project you just launched, new band.
Oh yeah.
Because that kind of ties back to, doing some singing. We're talking about some Djent earlier. I mean, this is a form of that too. How's that been? It seems cool because you're like with again like a team of musicians, right? It's like a full band thing. It's coming out cool. The visuals, everything. You worked with Rob, right, on the artwork.
Rob Walden.
Yeah. Did you toured with Catalepsy back in the day? Am I crazy?
We did, yeah. I'm thinking,
Big Ben.
What the heck's the artwork again? This is just how this. This is just an idea of how fast.
It's a space artwork with the band name in the middle. It's nothing crazy.
Oh, that one, yeah. Okay, yeah. There was some other artwork he did that didn't get used. Dude, this year has been going by fast, and that's I know that's wild to even hear. But
21 days in, my man.
yeah, I know, but it is for me crazy. Yeah, it was Rob. Yeah, I have toured with him. He's I don't know if he's that wild anymore, but he's definitely the one. He was probably like one of the first dudes I met that I like linked with, like that I connected with on tour, like of all my touring, like closely. I think it's because he's a weirdo. I like weirdos. I like people that aren't concerned with public perception of them. Like this, I don't even know if he'd like me. I'll say one thing funny, but like this is the first guy like I ever met that just would like happily like at that time just like pull out his nuts in front of his whole band and just to get a reaction out of him. That's a good that kind of stuff. Only around the band because they all thought it was hilarious. It's like that, like I was like, these guys are wild. I like that. They're just cool. They're just they're just themselves. And just enjoying the fact of realizing we're all human, and that's funny enough, And so I remember like drinking whiskey with Rob a lot. That's how I got in the whiskey, was because of Rob. That basically became like my tour drink for a long time. So yeah, we got a lot of connections to Rob. And Catalepsy, heavy, so sick. Yeah, that was good times. But yeah, he did the artwork.
Cat.
Very good. For the band, I hope I don't. I know I can only imagine I sound so just like blasé about this stuff. It really is just. It's literally just. This is just.
It
what
just
I
sounds
be
like
doing.
you're doing a lot of things, is what it sounds to me. It doesn't sound like you don't. It just sounds like you have so much time in a day, and you have 50. All of those projects, but you're doing 50 billion things, which only makes sense that when you're trying to think, it's like there's so much going on. I could be wrong, but that my perception is just that.
Yeah, to a degree. I really want to come into this year though, like and outdo myself. It's usually how I usually do things, but it's not like the Oceano stuff was a blessing and a curse, and I think it's that's why it's hard for people to understand why I would be maybe jaded, by it. But it's just like it took up a lot of my personal time, and I love my personal time. Like I think a good way to explain it is like, guys, I didn't get to play like really unless I was on Twitch, and it was really forced. Lots of those times, like I never got to play video games. You know what I mean? Like think about it, a man that never gets to play video games, other than Twitch, and it's like I didn't really want to play, like I would rather be playing like Breath of the Wild, like, veggied out on my freaking couch for like 6 hours, but those things can't happen, like it's like I can only do it for like 3 to 4 hours on Twitch. So like there's a lot of that to it, but that being gone is what is exciting because it opens up the door for me to be more creative across the board. So that's not limited, that's not limited to or even like it won't be more, but like deathcore's still in there, I mean, it's just like maybe less of it, so that's definitely exciting. So with Codename Quantum, that's what is exciting about it, is it's kind of like the complete opposite. Yeah, it's complete opposite. It's got singing, and it's way more melodic than what Oceano's doing. And the cool thing about it is it's ingrained in culture. It's like everything that I do, I want to be tied to like the culture of music. I want to be in it. And the cool thing about that is Michael, who is, I call him like the papa of the band. If without him it wouldn't have even be a thing. He approached me to collab, and it came from that. So the cool thing about it is he's from Ohio, and he basically came to me, and through talking we became friends. He's a big Oceano fan, so he was one of the dudes, like he never asked me for a guest list, he never asked me for a freebie into the VIP. He'd be there, he'd be in the VIP, like, oh, why are you here? Like, I would have got you. And he's like, no, I want to support the band. I was like, all right, dude. He's that one of those dudes. Like, cool. But through that we became friends. And he originally commissioned me to do a song with him as a collaboration, and it's very obvious he's a great guitarist, and I realized how great, how long he's been playing, and similar kind of thing. His goal is to do a band, and at this point we're close, and we've been chatting. I was like, dude, I want to do a band, and this is kind of like around the time or before even the announcement of Oceano being done. So this is already something that's being worked on. You know, I'm like, dude, if you want to do a band, like, you know, like you got a normal, you got a main, you know, you got a wife, you got all this stuff, you got a real life, you know, like clearly you don't want to just give that all up. So like, you're not trying to do anything like I've been doing. Just do a band, you know? And so at that point, we're like, all right, we're going to do some collaboration stuff, and we're going to do a band. And that first song that we were going to do has yet to come out yet. I told him, hey, we need to pick it up because you'll probably know why. But the first song was originally supposed to be a Resident Evil theme song. And so that was what he commissioned me for. Was like, I love Resident Evil, my favorite game. I know you can do it. You know games. Can you write some lyrics themed to Resident Evil? And I was like, yes. And I told him what we should do is I should actually play these games on Twitch, and then I will write the song, some of it live, based on the influences of that. And that's how we originally were starting out. And that still has not happened yet, but you also know there's a Resident Evil game coming out soon. So, but from that, I was like, dude, why don't we just do a band? And he was like, oh, I know some guys. And I was like, yeah. He's like, do you know some guys? I was like, no, I want the guys to be who you know, because the band needs to be out of Ohio. And so that's the coolest part that I'm excited about is, as I know you guys know, because you guys are big music fans and stuff, Ohio was known as a hotbed for metalcore acts of that era, a la when Joey was just starting out and all that stuff. So I was like, I want to do a metalcore band from the hotbed of the golden days. I want to do a metalcore band from Ohio because I want to feel that. I want to feel what it's like to be a metalcore band from Ohio and be a part of that. And it's cool because now we got Crimson Armada, who's been has come back and started doing stuff. There's also a lot of really awesome Ohio bands that I've actually got to tour with from Oceano, with Inferius and Backbiter and stuff. So there's I see something special. And dude, like Ohio, especially Columbus shows like are crazy. You know, like their scene is great. So that's the most exciting part about that project. It's specifically done as a love letter to Ohio metalcore, the golden era of that. That's specifically what that band like represents. So we got songs for days. Really, Michael and the rest of the boys they're capable and they're hella talented.
So I have to comment on Resident Evil. That's really sick. Like, it's just a good idea in itself. Like, just hearing that, I was like, that's so sick. I know that this is like a very specific takeaway from everything you said. There's a lot of cool stuff, but like, I just heard Resident Evil. Like, it takes everything in my power not to talk about gaming in general. And then with you here, it's like, I'm always like, okay, don't. But that's really that's like really awesome. I've been on a trip of like the Devil May Cry, which is to me similar in some ways to Resident Evil, the camera and like the fixed angle. So I'm in this like the music in that is pretty, like there's metal playing and stuff. So the whole time you were saying that, I was picturing it's really sick. Yeah, it's really sick.
Yeah, that'll be fun when it does come out, because I saw that they did, just because of the new Resident Evil stuff. So I did text Michael and I was like, hey, did you know about this? And he didn't know because he works a lot. And he was like, oh, I was like, we might need to speed up the process on that one. So that'll be cool.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Look, we've been going long here. So I'm leaving this in your hands, Adam. We could pick this up another time because there's so much more we could tap into. Or we could talk a little bit about some gaming, but I'm leaving this up to you. No, no strings attached. We won't feel.
I don't. Hey, I'm chilling. I'm good.
Dude, If you get me started on the Nintendo 64, I don't think it's never gonna end.
But
But
Brian, we want to hear Adam talk about Mario
I'm
64.
kidding. I'm kidding. It's
No,
just a joke.
but Yan did pose a question to me before we started this, but a crucial question we needed to ask, video game related.
Okay.
I'll let you go,
Yeah.
Yan.
Because there's a big, there's always a discussion around like Ocarina of Time perhaps being like the best game ever made, which is completely fair. But there's also this discussion between like Mario 64 being the first 3D and then Ocarina and like this comparison and stuff like that. So like, I won't make you pick between both.
Oh no,
different.
he has to pick.
He has to pick.
That is
Okay.
the concept. Yes, sir.
All right, my
What's
bad.
the better
So-
game, Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time? Your favorite of the two, not necessarily
Yeah.
better. That's subjective, but thoughts.
Can I
It's
answer it with the,
difficult.
I'll say, but let me answer it with the visual first.
Okay, sure. I think I see where this is going.
I'm loving this.
Now I'm not going for best because you really that's like saying hot dogs or hamburgers, you know, to a mixed crowd of people who like hot dogs and hamburgers, you know, like. But for me, if you had made me pick Mario 64,
Thank you.
like I could easily like play this every day and not get frustrated, bored. Now, unfortunately for Zelda, I would get frustrated and bored at certain points. So like I think that's a big factor of it, is like, especially first play, you know what I mean? Like if it just first playthrough, you just didn't know anything about the game, I would have more fun playing Mario.
No,
for sure.
It's very fair, honestly. Obviously, Ocarina of Time is a masterpiece. Like, I fully get it, and I love that game. But I get what you mean with Mario 64. Like, just the vibe of it. It's easy, simple. Like, it's casual. You're chilling. I could play that for the rest of my life. So I'm curious though. Did you get to try? Because there's so many mods, right, in Mario 64. Did I disappear? By the way, am I gone?
That's
Am I
what.
still here? Okay.
Nothing's changed on
Perfect.
stream. My bad, guys.
Just curious if I was gone. Could have happened. But yeah, I'm just curious if you tried like ROM or like, you know what I mean? Like there's like fan made stuff. Did you get to experiment with Mario 64 a little bit? Or
Like some of the ROM hacks and stuff.
Yeah.
I tried one. It was the Super Mario 64 Odyssey. It's like it sucked because we really thought it was gonna be more like Mario Odyssey. So it's supposed to be like the Mario Odyssey gameplay and you know the aesthetics and stuff, but baked into a Mario 64, you know, graphic style. So like just hacked like that, but it really was, you could throw the hat, you could possess things, but it wasn't like, you know, like the fact that it was Mario 64 actually wasn't a positive. It was more like that was what made it like not cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
The worst of both worlds together.
Yeah. That was the
There you
worst of
go.
both worlds actually. So that's the only one I ever did. I would like to try more of them.
If I may, I don't know if you ever, not to get too deep on that, I apologize, but like, did you ever get to watch like the Mario 64 iceberg and like the creepypasta and like all the theories of like, there's like bad auras in certain levels. There's all these like weird videos about Mario 64. I don't know if you ever dig into those.
I haven't dug into any Mario 64 icebergs actually.
Pretty crazy. I really recommend, like, it's obviously, it makes absolutely no sense like half the time because it's just like fan made stuff, but they made a rum hack, and this is where I'm going with this. This is the one I recommend to you. It's called Mario B3113, something like that. There's hundreds of stars, and it's like the AI of the game kind of taking control. So you walk into something and then it's like random. Now you're in another map, and like everything is kind of slightly off. Like you're in a map, it reminds you of a map, but like it's super liminal, and it's I make it sound terrible actually, but it's really cool. Like it's great. So that's my recommendation. I've been playing a lot. I don't understand how many hours they spent on that. It's crazy. There's like hundreds of stars, but that's the one I'm recommending.
Is it beatable?
I guess it is. I didn't, yeah, and I played quite, like, honestly, I played quite a lot, and I'm not even like halfway. There's so much stuff to do. It's crazy, and you got to remember, because like you very often, if you die, you come back at the beginning, but maybe it took you like 30 minutes to go to a place. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you got to go there and there and there and that level, and then the lobby change, and then it's pretty crazy. So I realize that I make it sound awful and very painful to play, but it's actually great. Don't take I'm a terrible promoter for it, but it's actually cool. But I'm think
interested.
It's beatable.
I'm interested.
Yeah, my recommendation would be to watch like an iceberg Mario 64 video, because first of all, it's funny. There's this theory. The main theory of the game is that every copy of Mario 64 is personalized. So you know what I mean? Every cartridge would be like different. So that's why you back then you heard those stories. I saw Luigi. Wasn't true, obviously.
Yeah.
It's like, in my game, I could do that. Like, there's a room with Bowser, like all these like crazy things. There was like a rumor, different internet for people watching younger. Like nowadays, it would be debunked in 1 second. But back then, that's all we had. You know what I mean? You would print those things. And so they made a game, basically. They made the rom-hack based on all these crazy theories that people had. So it's pretty insane.
Yeah, you have to send me that. I'll check that out.
I'll send it to you on Insta or whatever. No problem. I'll send you the whole thing. You're gonna have the iceberg, and then you're gonna have the thing.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll probably do it for a stream. I'm gonna watch. I'll probably watch the iceberg tonight, because that's what I love doing. Is just watching stuff till I pass out. So
well, I mean, I think we share, like, because I love Mario 64, so like it started like that for me. I watched, you know, the retrospective videos. I don't know how many I've watched. I don't even think it's healthy at that point. Like, I've watched, it's crazy, all of them. Like, you go on YouTube sometimes, like, oh, is it a new one? No, you watched it. I've seen all of them, so that's how I discovered iceberg. So if you love the game, you're gonna love it for sure.
Yeah, well, that's like your wheelhouse of content, is digging deep into history and stuff. Yeah, speaking of, have you ever watched the Gaming Historian on YouTube?
I don't think I did. The Gaming Historian?
Check that out. He does a lot of like retro and Nintendo history of stuff. He was doing stuff like years ago, but now, like, you know, he did like, I feel like he cornered the demand before there was a demand, you know, for like that type of content, you know, like helping people learn about the history of things. He was on top of it, like when retro gaming was like blowing up a few years ago. But now, like, all of his, and from that, now all his videos are like millions. You know, he's just gonna keep racking up. He's at 1 million now. You know what I mean? Like, from doing like 7 or 10-year-old videos. But like, think about it, 10, 20 years from now, like, he's like the library for retro
I'm looking
games.
at his channel. He's got like his last video is a year ago, and his video before that was 2 years ago, right? So it's like, but they're like still now raking views.
Yeah,
I'm already very grateful that you gave me that channel. Like, right now, I'm looking at a video called "How the Mario Characters Got Their Name." Just that, I would watch that like for hours.
Yeah.
Like, I'm seeing right now 20 videos, and I'm like, that's gonna be playing.
Yeah, so that's what I recognize in what you guys are doing, especially with the stuff where you kind of cover the like history of stuff, is like you're setting that up for the heavy boys and goys.
we gotta, dude, because and you've been there too. We saw MySpace die, and look, I'm not saying YouTube won't die, but like all that shit's gone now. Like, there's no evidence of any of this stuff anymore. So for us, it's just like we know what to tap into that we were around for, and we're like, okay, we gotta find some way to have that stuff bubble back up to the surface, right? For people to be able to today look at that stuff. Well, I'll be on Wayback Machine all day long, but no one else is doing that, right? And the fact of the matter is, kind of the only way to really document it is to talk to the people who are doing it. That's like the whole thing, right? So
yeah,
it's blowing our minds hearing you talking, like the recording how it was in your world. Like I'm looking at them sometimes. I'm like, yeah, we're living the same moment. It's crazy at the moment. Like, it's always moments like that to get to talk to the.
Well, y'all weren't doing 2-hour podcasts either in 2009.
No,
right?
it was an interview next to a highway, maybe with the most noise possible in general.
Yeah.
Like, let's do an interview in the middle of a
Yeah.
venue with bands playing. Let's...
And the question is, what would, and look, I'm here for it too, but the question would be, famously, what would be your porn star name? Right, you've been through BryanStarz.
Yeah, our BryanStarz one is like cringe and awesome all in at the same time. Because my dude, they did not take it serious. Like, they did not take it seriously at all. Like, not in like a disrespectful way to Brian, like hey, you're gonna be in on this too, kind of way. Like, where ours is so bad, it's just all of them making fun of each other. Like, we're all just, I'm not even trying to be involved. Like, they're just all ripping on each other.
You're literally, though, you are like off to the side on the far end. And it's fucking hilarious. Look, I was looking at this earlier today. You look at the, you know, on YouTube now, there's like, it tells you like the moments where people like show up to more, and it's like the one time you take the mic is like where it spikes.
Really?
Yeah.
I think in that one, I think it is funny. Devin, I think in that one, he says something like, "Oh, so what do you guys think set you apart?" or something like that. I think it's that one, and Devin's like, "Well, we got a black guy in our band." He said,
oh my!
Oh no!
But in that same interview, Danny's like calling Devin fat. Like, everyone's just ripping on everybody. Just the best of just fucking riffing.
All right,
Poor Brian.
What's your relationship with Pokemon? Because you seem to love Pokemon. Oof. I've been seeing the pack openings. You've been playing the new game on stream. Always been a fan?
I have. I had to give. Maybe not give up, but like, I had to momentarily sacrifice all the things that I genuinely like to maintain the type of mental output and bandwidth that was required to, in a sense, like take the reins of Oceano. So yeah, that's like optimally, like if I had my way at, like if it would have been like one or the other, I would have be like a Nintendo ambassador or something. That would be like if you know, like a paid like, or like a salaried Nintendo ambassador would be the ultimate dream job. That would be the only thing I would have been like, nah, okay, I'm done with this band. But yeah, Pokemon was big for me growing up, especially like because I was like a kid when it was coming out. So there's that, and I kind of had to like let go of it early because I was getting into other stuff, just sports and, you know, hanging out with friends, and I never got into playing it because none of my friends played it. They only collected it, and so at the time when I wanted to play as a kid, no one was playing it. And then like I met some high school friends that were like underclassmen from me. They were playing it, so I did get into it for a while. At the end of high school, for a little bit, actively playing it. So it has like a connection to me for like when I was like one of the last times I was doing like nerdy stuff, you know, before I like got more into sports and taking that seriously and stuff. But I more recently have gotten back into it. Everyone on my Twitch tries to act, they want to say they're blaming me for getting them into it and spending on, but in reality it's maybe it's both of us.
Yeah, okay.
No, I think it's we're just bad for each other, actually, is what it is.
It's a toxic relationship.
Yeah, so I've been getting into it a little bit more lately, mostly to learn. Mostly it was that, like I just, anything, it's like go hard in it and you'll learn, you know, as long if you just take it seriously, like you want to be here and be a part of it and like a part of the community, then you'll learn and people will help you learn about it. So I think too, if you're streaming on Twitch or you have a lot of people connecting on the internet that are also into it, they're excited that it's like another one of us, you know, like they want to help you. So you can absorb a lot of information fast, especially if you're like a podcaster or YouTuber or streamer, because people will happily like just throw you all the information, and you can just like learn stuff like quicker than anybody. So I was able to learn a lot about Pokemon and what I was missing out on, you know, since then, really fast. And so now I'm done like really being like hyper focused on like the modern era of the cards. And now it's like, okay, now I'm good. I'm up to date. Now I'm going to build my childhood binder again. So that's what I'm mostly focused on, is just building a better binder than I had as a kid. I'm already there, but like now let's like 10x that, you know, like, so I just want all the vintage hollows that I can get.
First of all, that's awesome. And second of all, a bit similar to the Ocarina question that I asked earlier, I gotta ask. First, favorite gen out of all the Pokemon gen, and second of all, top 3 Pokemon. I'm genuinely curious. Big one, I know.
I mean, I'm gonna say for Gen 2, because you get Gen 1 with Gen 2, and if you haven't played it by now, or you just are too young and you're yet to play it, I'm not gonna spoil it. But you, in both ways, you do get Gen. So there's that, and then for top 3, for consistency, Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard.
Wow.
That's a bit of a cop out there.
They're different Pokemon. They have separate Pokédex numbers.
Technically, that's fair.
Okay, big Charmander guy. I got it.
Yeah.
Red,
mostly Charizard. More so Charizard though. But you can't have Charizard without the other 2.
Yeah, I think they're cool too. Like I look, like the Charmeleon, just it looks badass. You know what I mean? Like the problem I always had is like a lot of second evolution to me were cool. Like you know what I mean? Like the before Gengar, like Gaslight, no Hunter, boom.
Yeah.
He's awesome, but then he's gonna turn into, you know, which Gengar is awesome. He's right there. I have like a Gengar there. But I had the problem that I love second evolutions, but then
they gave us the Everstone down the line, man. We're
That's
good.
true.
We're good.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true. I would do that. It's a tough choice though, because Gengar is also, I don't know. Now I'm doing that to myself. But yeah, good choice. Charizard, you know.
What do you is there like do you have thoughts on more current gen Pokemon, whether it be the games, or because I know you were playing ZA recently. Like, what are your high level thoughts on where Pokemon's gone over the years?
And keep in mind, you want to represent Nintendo in the future. So.
They really need to turn it around. I think that if they want it, there's always still room to improve. But I think would have been better for Pokemon at the point when we were seeing, so probably what about GameCube, right about there, they should have already been establishing games on like the mainline game on home console. They should have already been doing it. And I think now it would be way cooler if they were
that's
further
what they're
ahead.
Doing now, though. They're putting GameCube games on the Switch too, right?
Yeah.
GameCube graphics at the very least.
Yeah, but I wish they would have, done like whatever, like maybe what would that be, like Gen 3 or 4 would have, whatever that would have been, like on GameCube, like, but the visuals, scaled up like that. And because I think like now, if they would have been at that point to now have a Pokemon game like already have been out, that maybe would have looked like the cell shaded kind of vibe of like what is that, Wind Waker, but like by today, you know what I mean, like a game that looks like it's old but it's done with current graphics engines, like that would be sick if Pokemon was there right now. But they would have had to start it earlier with getting it to that point. And now we're just at the point where it's like, oh man, they're maybe gonna give us an open world Pokemon game. Finally, it's like we're like, it's like people that are being like purposely starved, like being excited that they're getting crumbs. You're like, what? Like we should be angry, like because they're not gonna do it. They're gonna keep doing the same thing.
Like how we haven't had a Pokemon MMO is beyond me.
I don't understand.
I think they're finally gonna do it, and that's the only reason they're like trying to chop down all those fan games so like way harder than ever, because they're finally gonna do it. I don't know if they ever had a night. I don't. Who knows? They're it's 30th anniversary. I mean, there's that.
Yeah, I mean,
30 years too late, but you know, we'll take it. We'll take it.
No, but as a kid, I remembered, even because I'm a big like Skyrim fan, like Elder Scrolls and Skyrim stuff like that. I always pictured like, imagine a freaking open world that you get to be your trainer. You go from a city to another. You beat the gym, like just that feeling of being in an open world. That, I mean, it would be best-selling game instantly. Like if done right, I mean, I think it would. I'm pretty sure it would be like just the best like game of the year, except maybe GTA 6 when it's going to be released in 20 years. But that would be the only exceptions, I guess.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. They can't release both of those. They can't release both those in the same year. The Pokemon open world and then the GTA at the same time. Everything. No one's going to work at all.
No. Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, GTA has been fucking shit up pretty bad with their release date keeps getting pushed back, and everyone was trying to get out of that window in the first place, and then it's not being released. So we're just losing out on like we've got months of no games. We're like, all right, fuck us, I guess. Like,
wow.
Yeah. But the thing is, they know also that no matter what it's still gonna. You know, when it's going to be released.
Oh, GTA is good. It's just we're the ones suffering with not having any games for months. But
it's kind of crazy, though. They know ahead of time that it's going to be game of the year and they're going to win everything. Like, they know it before even being released. Every single time they put something out, it breaks everything. So
I have a proposition for you guys. And I know that this is going to be on the podcast, too, so it's gonna extend pretty far. It goes to all types of people. There's no exclusion as long as we all are connected and unified within our cause. Would you guys like to join my GTA 6 gang, and then we take over Twitch servers and we become one of the most notorious gangs in GTA 6?
I don't see any reason ever to say no to that.
I'm trying to get everybody I know to get involved, especially people who are good at FPS, because I'm not that good at those.
Oh, okay. You need some hard carrying. Okay. Well, I mean, look, we'll be there. I don't know how much weight we can pull, but we'll be there. Look,
strength in numbers.
Strength in numbers. We'll have to stream it.
I played the good years of Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty, and Halo, so I should be. I'm used to trash talk back then. I should be prepared. I should be okay. I lived the era of that. I'm gonna bring that to the table. But we're in.
Yeah,
1000%. I don't. There's literally no reason ever to say no to that. Like
someone said, what do we call ourselves? I think it would be very fitting, because I like, like mobster movies, how they don't take any shit. Like you backtalk once, you're getting your ass kicked or worse, Team Brutality. We don't take any crap.
Oh my God. Like I couldn't.
I can't say no to that, Adam.
No,
I think it works because it's gotta, it's like Batman. Like we want to strike fear in people's hearts just at the thought of the name.
I mean, dude, it's better than reverse Oreo. I'll tell you that. Maybe be taken a little less seriously then.
Yeah.
Maybe less intimidating. I was gonna say that. Yeah. No, we're definitely. I'm speaking for both of us, but I mean, we're definitely in.
Absolutely,
1000%.
There'll be hundreds. There will be. It'll be good. It's gonna come with a lot of heat though, because there's gonna be some challengers, I'm sure. Other cliques that are just as crazy.
Oh yeah. No, but we're
Look, I wasn't even all that hyped for GTA 6 because we genuinely, absolutely don't know a fucking thing about it. But now I'm invested, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's all I'm. That's I future-proofed my PC when I got my first stream PC because I knew GTA 6 was coming, and I knew not even because I did, dude. I played that game a lot. The first ones on PlayStation, I actually did play them a lot. But the newer ones, as they got more realistic, not really my thing as much. But it's part of our culture, for better or worse. I don't know, but like it's part of our culture, and like as a gamer, you got to experience that. It's like you're almost obsolete. You know what I mean? Like, why would you, of all the games you wouldn't play, that's not one. Even if you don't like, those I think that's just a game you have to experience because it's like it's a mirror of our society. It's like the closest thing to like the simulation, that we'll ever get to until they make it VR. Like so like how could you not want to step by step experience that,
Especially on release. Like I think on release specifically, it'll be really special too. Like everyone experiencing it for the first time, like those initial reactions and people figuring shit out, and like because people are still finding shit out in GTA 5, right? But like I don't know, man, it's gonna be fucking crazy for a minute.
Maybe a moment. Like we know already that this is gonna be a moment in time. Like it has to be one of the most expected games ever. Like it has to. I mean, it's crazy. You cannot go, at least me, on Instagram, open up a comment section and somebody not saying we got this before GTA 6. Like, I mean, it's everywhere. Like it's in any, even if it has nothing to do with gaming, So they found like new species, I think, in the ocean or something, and they were just like new species before GTA 6. It's always that now. It's always like, okay, there we go. So yeah, and on top of that, I was already stoked, right? But now with the brutality thing, with the the crew and everything, now I'm waiting.
Yeah, gotta.
I'm
gonna keep spreading the word.
Let's go. Well, dude, Adam, thank you so much for doing this, man.
Yeah, truly.
This was so fucking cool. I'll just say this candidly. We've been wanting to have you on the show since the very beginning.
Oh, yep.
And I'm glad we could make it happen now. It was cool to dig back in all the old stories and stuff. I think it's a cool time right now too. And I mean, look, would have also been cool while Oceano was a thing. But I think it is cool to do a bit of a post-mortem at the same time, right? After the fact. So I'm glad we were able to work this out in the time that we did. And I appreciate you a ton, man.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Incredible, and you know what, if the moment we do like anything gaming special or I mean, we hit you up, man. You're gonna be first in line. Anything
you gotta hit us up with those deathcore tracks.
Oh yeah.
God.
Maybe we do a little something. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, but
organize a Montreal show, something like that.
Yeah, I'll keep in touch. And I want to in some future, whatever it is, I want to talk to you guys about old school, like obscure, like early deathcore bands.
Oh hell yeah!
Some
I mean,
you already know we're down for it, man. Adam, the reality is, Adam, whenever you want to talk to us about anything whatsoever,
I think that sums it up.
Give us a ring and we'll make it happen. But we would love to talk old school deathcore for sure.
Oh yeah.
Are you guys sticking to death metal deathcore? You guys do like even like metalcore, older era, that stuff and all that?
Right now, it's been kind of the niche, but that's like an evolving conversation we've been having.
It's hard to respond because the line sometimes is kind of blurry between those. Like we're thinking of a band, to us it makes a lot of sense, and it's like it's kind of metalcore. Like so the line is kind of blurry. I would say mostly, it's hard to say, like mostly deathcore, revival, deathcore, death metal, slam would be the kind of the.
Yeah, we kind of painted ourselves purposefully, you know, as like the deathcore podcast, right? And I think to a certain extent, it's helped a little bit with the getting of certain guests that want to come onto the show because it's the deathcore thing, or it's like the, you know, being part of those rounds. But we both listen to so much more music than just deathcore, so it's not like. As people are mentioning, one of my favorite artists is Ariana Grande. So, you know, and again, it's Blink 182. So we're not opposed to the thing, right? So, so yeah, it's like kind of like an ongoing thing. Is there anything you want to shout out? You've already explained some things, some ongoing things throughout the episode, but I'd love to give you the space to give out any shouts if you've got anything you wanted to mention before we hop off here.
Sure. How much time do I have? No, I'm just kidding.
The floor is yours, man. You do you.
Yeah. I will say this. It's a very pivotal time for all of humanity. And it is very important. And the only reason I say this is because I've written about this in Oceano lyrics. It's a very pivotal time for our year where we need more people to awaken. And that is not a political statement. Has nothing to do with any of those things. It's more about you becoming conscious that you are more than just a human that's supposed to just do the everyday thing that everyone else does. It's time for us to activate every single person because we're about to lose our sovereignty across the entire world. And so we need to do our best through our music, through how we help others, whatever we do, we need to make sure that we are more conscious with how we treat others and what we do, because we need to do more uplifting and enlightening than anything else so that we can turn this world into what it's supposed to be, which is actually an ideal utopia, but we have to connect and work together to get there.
Wow, couldn't agree more.
I fully endorse that message, my man.
Oh yeah,
right there with you.
Yep, uplifting each other. It's all about vibration, love.
Yes,
couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
Hell yeah,
that's the best statement. Like honestly, that's the best way to, you know, to close it, I think.
Well, Adam, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Well,
thank you, for real.
I'd love to keep in touch, and
same, yeah,
because we got some GTAing to do anyways. You've got some deathcore to send us.
To watch.
Got some icebergs to watch. All this stuff. So
yeah, we'll just hey, I want to not to interrupt you. I'll say this: you guys are. I like what you guys are doing. You guys are cool dudes because you know where I stand. You know, I'm not an industry type, though I do have to go in that world sometimes. I'm a fan first, you know? So I like that you guys are doing this for, you know, the scene and stuff with a positive outlook. So I would say, you guys are welcome. You know, you want to knock on my stream and come and hang or something, you know, if you see me chilling, like you're told, cause that's the thing on Twitch, then no one seems to do it. So like totally just do it. Like I have a team for my team. I'll just let them know, but like, anytime you want to like knock, if you're just watching, just come knock and be like, hey, let's talk about that deathcore shit, you know, like, or whatever you want to, but I totally just, you know, we'll do that. So like, if I happen to be live when I'm doing the music stuff, you want to like hop in, just riff for a bit or something, but you're dead serious. I like the spontaneity. So my door digitally it's open for you guys. Just give it a knock whenever you want.
That almost sounds more sexy than intended. Yeah. Something about it. The digital door is open. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the digital door is open. Yeah, it'd be cool to try that out sometime too. So we can chat even and time it up. something.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Would love to, for sure, man.
Awesome.
We'll figure some stuff out. Well,
Yeah.
Dave, thank you so much.
Thank you again, for real.
Yeah, much appreciated, man. We'll talk soon.
Means a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man.
Adam on that booty call. I have to.
Perfect.
To be continued.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Peace out, my
All right.
man.
Later.
Thanks, man.
If you made it to the end of this episode, thank you for watching. And hey, while you're here, hit that subscribe or follow button and a review. If you're watching or listening on a podcast platform, it would mean the world and it helps out more than you know. A big thank you as well to all of our supporters over on Patreon and on Twitch. New episodes every week, links to our Patreon, Discord, and socials in the description. We'll see you soon. We're out.